a sacrifice seduced for the altar of your vanity. A jealous, hungry God craving praises of profanity. With bedroom dark and dine, and a deep mouth stained with wine, it drinks its fill. It was your mothers, not your brothers, that agreed to feed you poison. This egregious lack of choice indeed seemed fit to join your voice in, with lies disguised as prizes of reason and wisdom, with briberies of finery to weaken any criticism. Can the fly invade the blossom that devours it? A mouth that lies in wait for a gift of life to shower it.
Okay, guys, welcome. It is session 86. We are going to continue the immediate night after where we just left off. It's going to be April 4th. Everybody loses a blood point, and you regain a willpower point.
Okay.
We had that one on last session.
Do we know when the ceremony starts? Like, do we have some time to hunt before we go to the party?
The Discorday is going to stop by your guys' place around 11. That leaves you about 2 hours to hunt. It is probably about 8:30 when you guys rise, refresh yourselves, you get ready for the night. Albana, in particular, you guys have a bunch of new herd members, a bunch of people who have joined the cult and are beginning to help you get ready for this evening. And they're picking out your dress, and they're helping to brush your hair, and so on, get you oiled up, and so on and so forth. And as they are primping and pampering you guys, Albana, one of them grabs a silver mirror and asks if you'd like to check out your reflection to make sure that everything is okay, and holds it up to your face.
Oof.
She grabs the hand and tries to push the mirror away.
You do so. She's like, "Oh, what was that for?"
I do not like seeing my own reflection. It is vanity that's not appropriate for one of my position.
Okay, I understand. It won't happen again. You're so humble. Someone of your beauty. I'm surprised don't have mirrors all over the place. I'm amazed. I'm continually amazed at how wonderful you guys are, and how attracted I am to your philosophy. And she begins praising you, in that vein.
Abner lets her praise her for a bit, and then she asks, "When did you join us?"
Oh, just a few nights ago. We moved in after the Veneralia ceremony, just me and my husband and my son. And, we're just helping you guys get ready today.
You have a son? How old is he?
He's about 6.
May his future be one of great blessings.
Well, he should be upstairs sleeping right now because he has a big day ahead of him. We all have to go get some bricks for another construction project that's going on, and that's how we're going to earn our food for the day. So, hopefully he's upstairs sleeping already.
What is his name?
Lucas.
Beautiful name. I make sure to add his names to my prayers when I offer sacrifices.
You're so generous. Can't thank you enough.
She gives her a smile, perhaps a bit of maternal tone to it. Says, "It is merely my duty to the members of our cult."
All right. You guys are dressed, make-upped, hair's done, jewelry applied. Decius is going hunting. Please make a hunting roll for me, Decius.
Yes. Is it normally difficult 8 or 6 for
It is
me?
8 for you because of your feeding restriction.
Right, and then 6 because of my
Because
I'm
of your
hunting in
domain.
my domain.
Yes.
Okay.
To be honest, I should probably go hunting as well.
Right. Now, you can use a point of herd to gain several, to gain a blood point, or you can add them to your dice roll for your hunt if you have a herd.
I added as a dice. I got
Okay.
6 success.
Okay, so Decius, you are in the brothel that you own. That is your domain. And a well-off man and his retinue comes in. They select several people and begin to pleasure themselves for the night, enjoying the hospitality of your brothel. You slip through a curtain as the man finishes with his chosen companion. And he's laying there with his eyes closed, enjoying the afterglow. What do you do?
I will essentially use my manipulative skills and my subterfuge to just put these people at ease, make them comfortable, make them more intimate to me. And if they like throw questions at me, I'm essentially going to use my subterfuge to give answers. It is
Roll
not
roll your
going to be tight.
roll your manipulation and subterfuge.
Oh, I already
please.
rolled.
Roll it again.
Okay.
You're going to get 12 blood points out of this. I would like you to roll it for this person.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't add my
No.
hurt dice then.
Straight manipulation and subterfuge.
Okay.
Okay, so you mentioned I can use 1 dot of herd to add 1 dice to my feeding.
Yes, and this is you're using it out of the group pool, whichever anybody can use. All right. Yes, Decius.
Okay.
Using your sweet honeyed words, you put the man at ease, and you sit on the bed next to him, and you do as you came there to do. Feed upon him. And so you do repeat this action several times, and you gain 12 blood points.
Pretty much. I will not put anyone at risk or anything. I will just be gentle.
Right. Nicodemus, you're hunting out on the
Yes.
streets, out and about. Please make your hunting roll.
Question.
Yes.
Up to there is an increased difficulty to 6 to find someone healthy, right?
Guaranteed healthy, yes.
Is Nicodemus's newly acquired power helping with that?
It actually can. Just roll me a. We're gonna go with a wits and stealth roll to use your power while hiding it, because you still have to. Your eye does open when using this.
With level 1? I don't think level 1 opens it.
It actually says it does. It does open when you use that power. Because it has to gaze upon the person.
The third, the third eye squints. Does it warrant that?
I will let
Okay,
you
so-
add 2 dice to your hunting roll if you successfully activate this stealthily.
Wits plus stealth and difficulty is 6.
Yes. You only need
I
one
don't know if
success.
I don't know if it's worth it, to be fair, but let's test it. Maybe we won't breach masquerade.
Also,
It-
just a query, was my diff 6 as well?
Yes, it is, Labiana. All right. So Nicodemus will get 2 extra dice on his hunting roll.
Nice. Well, I ended up with 6 successes.
Okay.
Because I added that extra dice as well.
All right. So Labiana, you are a smack him over the head and drag him into an alleyway style hunter.
Pretty much.
You are out and about, and you see one man who does not look too inebriated. He was out begging for some coins earlier. You can hear a little bit of rattling in his wooden bowl that he's holding. He's got a piece of bread in his hand that he's chowing down on, and he is huddling under a small outcropping of brick in a construction zone. He doesn't see you creep up on him. You creep up, and you get right behind him, and nobody sees you, and you whack him with the blade. And then they begin to drag him backwards into an alley. So, how much are you going to take from this one singular person? You will get 12, up to 12 if you don't want to kill this guy.
Well, I mean, she only needs 8.
Okay.
So, she may... She may be obliged to not stretch the limits this time.
Awesome.
She's just there purely to feed.
You feed and allow him to live. Nicodemus, with as many successes as you got, you creep along a dark alcove in the twisting maze alleys of the maze-like streets of Rome. And you see a young lady, approximately 20-ish, very dirty, coming back from a job of manual labor. She seems to have just closed up with her boss and is quickly making her way back to the insulae. You crouch down in a little alcove, and as she passes, you reach out and you snag her by the face, and you put your hand over her mouth, and you drag her back into the alleyway. How much do you want to take from this person?
2.
You bite in, and she goes limp. The healthy blood rushes into your mouth. You take 2.
Question. You mentioned.
Go ahead.
Sorry. You mentioned she was being poor or something.
Yeah, she's
Like
she's
in
not
rap
rich.
I mean, like very downtrodden, or like middle class, or
She's lower middle class.
okay. Okay, that's no change.
Right, so you can do this 3 more times and get up to 8 blood tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
That's the plan. Will it work within 1 hour frame?
Your eye?
No. You said initially that after raising up, we have 2 hours before we need to depart for this
Yeah.
migration,
Each hunting
right?
roll is 1 hour.
Okay. On the topic of the third eye, there is a mention that concealing it under a hood works. That while manifesting a power, does the eye manifest some sort of glow?
I believe for
Or-
your first level, the eye just opens.
Okay. So for future reference, any hoods used will be possible to mitigate that.
If you hide it under a nice loose hood, I'll give you 2 extra dice on a stealth roll to open it.
Okay, that's cool.
All right, and last up is Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut, you are a seduction style, aren't you?
Yep.
Right. You patrol the streets. Unfortunately, you're not having a lot of luck. Um, you seem to be offering yourself, and nobody's buying. But eventually, finally, a big fat guy um, comes strolling up. He just got out of the baths, so he's not nasty. He seems to be on his way home, but he's got a little time on his hands, a little extra cash. And today was a good day, and he responds to your proposition.
I'll go for it then.
Right. The two of you retreat to a nearby alley where he can lean you up against the wall, and he hikes your clothes up and begins to do what he came here to do. I assume you bite him in the middle of said act.
Yep, and take 2 points.
Okay. Easily done. He greatly enjoys himself. The feeding with the midst of sexual activity is a experience that he would love to repeat and probably will never be able to repeat again. And last up is Lady Albina, who has a heck of a good roll, can get up to 10 tonight, and who is another seduction style feeder. You head a few blocks down to where there is essentially a house party going on. It's a small insulae, just a couple of stories, which generally means that people in it are a little bit more well off. And there's a couple of musicians out there, seem to be having a party out front, and you invite yourself to the crowd and to pick someone to seduce. You retreat to a room and things begin to progress. How much blood do you take?
Question. Is she able to turn the house party into a horde? Would she get a willpower from fulfilling the bon vivant nature?
Yeah, I will. Bon vivant, enjoy life to the fullest. I will absolutely, if you get a few more people involved in a frenzy of pleasure, shall we say, I'll let you regain a willpower point. How would you like to attempt that?
I think she'd like to try to convince first of all some of the other girls on the party to try to offer themselves to some of the men and try to get the ball rolling by kind of like rolling the snowball down the mountain kind of stuff.
Okay, I'll give you 3 rolls, and this is going to take a full hour, so you won't have much more time after this. They're going to be charisma, and let's go with oh jeez.
Subterfuge, empathy.
Nah, I don't want to do subterfuge. I'm thinking
Expression.
leadership. And enchanting voice merit will apply for this.
Okay.
Let's do charisma and leadership. It's going to be base difficulty of 6 because they're having a party and having a good time. So, with your enchanting voice merit lowering that difficulty, I would like you to reach a total of 5 successes.
It's 3 rolls, right?
Correct. You made it. I see 5. After a full hour of drinks and talking and a few kisses here and there, and with the occasional breaks to feed yourself, the party begins to degenerate from a more staid affair into a more wild affair, and you throw yourself headlong into this party and emerge after a full hour feeling rejuvenated and refreshed, regaining a willpower point. you have just enough time to get back and to get your hair and makeup fixed. Right, so at about 11, give or take a few minutes, Discorde comes in. And do you remember she, at one point, was generally very attractive. And she comes in, and she has that same waxy skin. Nothing has changed about her appearance.
Did she have a handout?
Did she what?
Did she had a handout, picture on the Roll20?
I do no, she does not. I will, however, put it on Discord. I just have to find her picture, which I'm not a big fan of the alterations I made to it, so I'm going to give her the picture that I found that I was trying to alter. And you can do it from there. There it is. There. I need to put that in artwork. She is, for the record, carrying a ceremonial, that incense burner. She's carrying that with her.
Okay. What does it smell like?
It smells like burning sage.
I was gonna say that typical smell that they
Yep.
give off.
I forget what they call that. I'm sure a Catholic would be able to tell me.
I believe a sensor is the word.
Thank you. There you go.
So she comes in.
Yep, she comes in, and she is decked out in a little bit more ceremonial robes. There's some embroidery on them. She looks kind of nice, if you could get past her waxy, corpsey face.
Okay. Not like a Cappadocian.
Oh, it's just like a Cappadocian. She looks like a walking corpse.
Okay, but she's still beautiful.
I mean,
A beautiful
she's a beautiful corpse.
Okay.
It's the kind of corpse that if you saw it just going through a morgue, you'd start worrying about the mortician's activities.
Either that or be going, that's one hell of a skilled mortician. Man.
I'd bury that.
That's a good one. All right. So she comes in. She has her sensor putting out a little bit of smoke. And she actually does a minor, like, ritual step. You watch her come in, and she turns in a counterclockwise circle. She chants something as she comes through your doorway. And she's swinging it in a what is obviously a pattern, even though the rest of you don't know what that pattern is, but it's obvious it's not random.
Do I have an idea of what she chanted?
Can someone with theology see that?
It was a prayer. It was in Latin. She's chanting in Latin, and it's a prayer to the goddess.
Was it something like, "Oh, I sacrificed these
No,
people to"?
It's a prayer of protection and cleansing, and good luck for the year.
Okay. A little dramatic and all that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, would it be possible for any one of us to recognize the kind of pattern she's swinging the incense pole?
You need training on what exactly she's doing.
Okay.
You need to convert. You need to become one of them.
Exactly.
It's a small price to pay for learning, right? Just join them.
Straight up. All right.
Don't know about that.
She completes her ritual prayer, and she stops to inhale the scent, and she says, I come in the name of the goddess. Are you ready?
Yes. We are ready.
I believe
As
so,
ready
yes.
as will ever be.
Yeah.
Yep.
She turns around and she says, "I will lead the way." And she walks in a measured step. This is, it's again clear she's walking to an internal beat. She's swinging the sensor. Sometimes she switches hands. She's saying something under her breath, all the way to the northern part of the Aventine Hill.
Okay, I will follow her. I will pay attention to the path she is taking us.
She's not trying to get you lost. As she walks and chants, you see people peering out of the shadows, homeless people sleeping on rubbish piles. They crack open eyes. They see her walking and chanting, and they hear the prayer to Magna Mater, the Great Mother. And you see would-be thieves and cutthroats appear, see what's going on, and back away.
Does it seems to be fear or respect that's making them backing away?
Hard to tell.
Okay. I will give an attention to see if some people that sees this just like joins us or not. I will just try to.
They do
Look out for
not,
that.
because they are all partied out. Eventually, you reach a spot at the base of the hill near the temple, and what you see are the remnants of a huge festival. They're a big feast. There's a whole bunch of remnants, party littering on the ground. She guides you up the twisting, narrow streets of the hill, and she reaches the temple door. The doors are flung open, and you see eunuchs. They're kind of flabby men. They got that double chin. Varies from Game of Thrones. If you can envision him, that's what most of the guys look like. A little bit flabby. Some of them are pretty strong, but they've all got this impression of softness about them.
Okay.
High-ranking castrates.
The temple. Once we go inside, are there paintings, carvings, etc.?
So
on
yes,
the
you go
walls?
inside the temple. She takes you to the altar, and she turns a corner, and there's a very cleverly. It's not hidden by a false wall. It's just you can't see it unless you know exactly what you're looking for. She takes you inside down some hidden steps into the earth. And inside this lower temple, light reflects from polished stone and brass. There's torches put up. Things have been heavily cleaned and polished. It's looks like a inverted terrace. So you'd go down steps and they're square blocks, and at the bottom of this inverted temple, there is a statue set near one wall. It has an obsidian face. Those of you with high theology would know that obsidian face was the original stone brought from France, brought from Phrygia, to be the altar of the Great Mother.
Okay.
And did you say the statue is at the end of the temple?
Yes, so you're looking down basically into a bowl with big steps cut out, about 4 big ones. It's like a terrace. And on the floor, the very bottom of the bowl, on one side there's the big statue. There's an altar there with an assortment of knives and looks like little pots about the size of your hand. There's approximately 100 people in here. You look inside, and it appears that every single person in here is a foreigner. You don't see a single Roman mode of dress. There's not a single Roman hairstyle. There are
Do we?
a large number of them are dancing and chanting. Some people are down there beating drums, and they sound through the hall. You can hear the boom 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 beat, and it's getting into your ears. You can feel it throbbing in your joints. Maybe some of you are even feeling the urge to get up and go dance with them.
Do we perhaps recognize any kind of forms of dress or hairstyles at all?
Mostly are all immigrants.
Okay. I mean, any in particular that we might recognize, like say
Gallic is
or
predominant.
Gaelic.
Yep.
Okay.
Gallic from Gaul, not Gaelic, from Ireland.
Oh, Gaelic.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. Yeah. I think that's what I meant, Gaelic.
Yeah.
How are people interacting with the statue? Like, are they praying to it? Are they offering something, or are they just dancing around it?
I would like you to roll me your perception plus performance. And if you have dancing, I will count that as a 10 specialty.
No, I do not. Difficulty 6.
Yes. Awesome. They are dancing in celebration to the statue.
Okay, so it's somewhat worshipping as well.
Yes.
Okay. Does it look ritualistic or random?
Oh no, this is a very much ritual.
Okay. Do I hear people chanting stuff while they're dancing?
Yes, they are dancing and singing. Some sort of folk song, maybe. Do you speak Gallic?
I don't think so. I probably speak only Latin and Greek.
Yeah, so you have no idea what they're saying.
Okay, seems fair. Interesting. And this probably wouldn't be something I've seen in art or like.
No, you've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. Okay. After she leads us here, did she told us anything, or did she just let us like? I don't know.
She has led you in, and she has said to relax and enjoy yourselves. Join in if you want.
Okay.
And then
Did
she
left?
joins into the festivities.
Okay. Once she goes, leaves away, I will just turn around to the coterie, just gaze at all of them, and kind of pull myself closer to all of them, like kind of make a circle kind of thing. And I would say, whisper, that we should at least stick together 2 and 2. Like we shouldn't be alone while we are here.
Fair. Let's also locate who their henchmen are. Obviously, these are devotees, but
I wonder
some
how.
higher servants are there.
I wonder who among them are also of our kind.
Yes, that's precisely
Ooh.
what should be on the lookout.
Okay.
I was gonna ask that, so I was considering, maybe Labiana might gaze out over them and cast level 2 Auspex.
That's an excellent idea. Roll perception plus empathy. That's a book difficulty of 8.
Yep, I think I have it set up here somewhere. Where is it?
Nicodemus would do the same.
Oh,
I believe that's a great idea.
2 heads better than 1.
Oof. 2-1.
All right, Labian, you spent about 15 minutes trying to relax enough to call forth the sight, and the beat it's getting into your joints, and you can feel it vibrating, and the stomping of the feet, and it's distracting you because you can actually feel that you want to join in to the wild dance going on below, and you can't quite relax enough to call forth the sight.
I believe the sound or the song feels like a paganistic.
Yes, and Albina, I would like a self-control roll from you. Difficulty of 4. Because you are a bon vivant and you do like to celebrate stuff, and this might actually be a little difficult for you not to just be like, screw it, I'm joining in. This looks like fun.
Is dancing the only activity that is currently happening?
They are dancing and singing at the moment.
Dancing and singing.
But
Is it possible to dance and use auspex to detect vampires?
Because you're not trying to
Not-
put on a performance, yes, you can. You're literally just out there moving to the beat. Right? You're not trying to impress
Because-
anyone or, seduce anyone. You're just out there dancing. So yeah, I don't see why you couldn't.
That's what would Nicodemus do. Just join in the festivities to get the ride of the thing and try to hold on, I'll finish. And then use the auspex. Well done.
Outstanding. I love it. Great idea.
before you leave us, I will just say that you should take someone with you, and I will suggest that you take Albina because she seems to be, somewhat focused at the dancing, so she might be interested to go with you and join the people.
Well, that's a great idea. In fact, it's been a while since I've seen you relax yourself, Albina. Do you feel the pull of the dancing people and the singing?
It is entrancing, to say the very least.
Let's get entranced then.
Yeah. Before they leave, Labiana kind of just looks over at them, expressionless as always, not really showing any kind of reaction to what they're about to do, but she will just turn to them and she'll just say, "Be careful."
Okay, so you guys stick together. Do not lose sight on each other. Watch your back. And enjoy the party. Meanwhile, we three. We need to discuss. Is there anything you wish to do in this party right now? Is there, actually out of character, is there people other than dancing and singing? Are there people talking in the corners, around the corners or whatever?
There's a couple. There's a couple of people, like I said, at the entrance to the temple.
Okay.
There's a few. Not it's not like an army of people waiting. There's a couple.
Can I pick up any sort of spiritual presence?
From your merits, I'm thinking.
Mainly from that, yeah.
Things are too chaotic and noisy. If there is any sort of spiritual presence here, it's either joining in the party or it's being drowned out.
You just
Okay.
you just see like a manifested wraith joining in the dance, just like no one's noticing.
Listen, for the time being, I think that we all three of us should stick together, and then if a reason comes up, a curiosity inside you, then we can see how we can handle that. But for the time being, I think we should be together.
Yeah.
Let's.
So at this point, Labiana kind of tied into what she tried to do before. She's just sitting there watching everything that's going on. She thought, she's trying to read the situation, everything that's going on in front of her, trying to take in as much as she can. When trying to use all specs before, those who look at her might see her try and strain and go, trying to do something, just wasn't quite able to grab onto what she was looking for, so she just goes, to hell with it. And is just sitting there, taking in, learning,
Right.
remembering.
So,
everything that
Labiana,
she sees.
one thing you absolutely notice as you're trying to relax and look, these people, the more you look at them, the more you see the light of fanaticism in their eyes. You are surrounded by at least 100 straight up fanatics. in this temple.
Do you
She would recognize that to a degree.
Oh, yes, you absolutely would.
does Labiana say that to Headship Suit and Disuse?
I think Hatshepsut would recognize this as well.
Hmm.
Decius, maybe not.
Okay. Yeah. I wonder if Labiana or Headship Suit say that to Disuse, like after they notice it.
She might just, after watching, just say, kind of, this is what I see.
Right. Albina and Nicodemus merge into the crowd as you other three, Hatshepsut, Labiana, and Decius, pretend to be wallflowers. Nicodemus and Albina throw themselves into the dance. And they begin to twirl to the beat. They get picked up by the crowd. You see them merging into the pattern. A line that snakes in a figure 8, moving around in the symbol of infinity. Dancing, the pattern begins to break up, and now it's a circle, and now they begin moving in a triangle. And then it goes back to circles where the partners mix and mingle, and the drums continue to drum and do 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 do, and they build the beat, and people are beginning to sweat, and the scent of pheromones in the air that people give off when they're just throwing themselves into this party, throwing everything they have into it. You see people tearing their clothes off to dance topless or naked in the crowd. Nicodemus, you merge yourself into this pool of energy, and your eyes relax, and you begin to pick up the scent. And it's not just a sight of the auras that you're picking up now. You're picking up the smell, and normally you would see one aura or of a person you're looking at, and you see the aura of the entire crowd, and it is every single one of them is a human except for Discorde. She is the only vampire that you see. And not only that, you're picking up the sensation of energy that these humans are putting out is merging somehow, doing something to bring them to a more coherent mass. This is a ritual of tremendous power, but what it is they're powering, you have no idea.
This, funnily enough, this fits into something I was about to ask about. As it's all going on, obviously I lack the familiarity to logically pin precisely what's happening, and if there's anything magical going on. But instead, I'd like to take the almost alternative approach of, sometimes how you find it easier to see patterns when you just stop thinking about it.
Yep.
I'm basically trying to do that. Just disengage my mind, take it in, and see if anything sort of bolts to mind while doing that.
All right. You again relax, and it's closing in on midnight. Not just midnight, but we're talking the darkest part of the night. And you're allowing all of this to wash through you. And you are, as I said, begin to pick up the patterns of the dance, what it is they're doing. They all seem to be just changing, reacting as one being, one creature, Before, when you first started, you're like, oh, okay, there's a bunch of people out there dancing. Now you can see it's almost like it's a super well choreographed dance line. Even though you know this not, it's almost like a low grade telepathy
Yeah. Like,
where they just know what to
yeah.
do.
Does it seem like Nicodemus and Albina are falling into the pattern themselves?
They are moving with it. Are they engrossed in it? You can't tell. But they have become like if you ever danced a can line or something and you just follow the person in front of you, that's what they're doing. But from your angle, your position, without talking to them, you don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to ask them when they get free. Assuming, of course, they don't all like merge into. They don't literally all merge into one Star Child. That would be very awkward.
Um, I assume Nicodemus has not succumbed to everything.
No, neither one of you have.
On the border. He'd like to use the crowd's momentum to propel himself closer to Hatshepsut, as she is most likely to know some more about the rituals, but he's not ready to leave Albin out there alone. So he reaches forth to like try and direct her towards the other group just to catch a bit of respite from.
Right.
The
You allow the
alluring
pattern
madness.
to spit you guys out. Basically, you pass near the edge of the bowl where the terraces are, and you grab Albina, and you step out of the pattern and drag her up the steps with you. The hole you left behind closes immediately as everyone else picks it back up.
Nicodemus just smiles at Albina, seeing that this brief moment of dance has probably served them both in a capacity, but they're here on business, so he turns forced to direct his steps towards the rest of the groups, the wallflowers.
Did the two of you pick up on the harmony of it as well?
Yes, it almost seems like it's a ritual that's. Nicodemus looks left and right to see if the conversation is private.
Nicodemus,
he
you
resumes-
see there's nobody near you. However, there are 3 people watching you.
Oh, okay, it's usual if they watch from a distance, right?
Yes, from a distance.
Yeah, Nicodemus just waves towards them with a smile. Um, and he resumes saying, perhaps in turning himself in a way that his lips wouldn't be seen by them in a casual sort of matter. And he says, well, it's obviously a ritual that somehow powers something. It's the raw energy from these people.
I don't know about it being a ritual, but the sensation. I only ever felt something like this when I was within the abyss. The desire, temptation to let myself go into the abyss to become one with it is nearly the same as the one that I felt to let myself go and become one with the dancers.
This is either worrying or just plain impressive.
It is probably curious. Did they put it just for our show? Or is it something they do regularly?
While they are doing this, Decius will gaze at this scene he's staring at, and he will try to discern anything that is not dancing and singing. So anyone that is not participating in this ritual, he will try to discern.
Well, as everyone's talking, you go out and look at the crowd, and you notice the crowd is beginning to swirl around one man who is approaching the altar, and they're beginning to part and dance around him. So he's being singled out, almost.
Who's the closest to me from the coterie?
I don't know. You tell me.
I will say Labiana because she wasn't doing the thing with the Nicodemus and all that. So I will quick gently pat Labiana's shoulder to get her attention. And then I will gently point at the man that has been the center of this ritual. So that she can also take a look at him.
Okay. Actually, this could tie in with something else I've been thinking about. I kind of wish I thought of this earlier. Given how she failed with the attempt to read the soul kind of thing, I think instinctively thereafter she would definitely have considered casting Clarity of Emptiness.
Go for it.
For whenever she used any of her mental stats.
Absolutely, go for it.
Thereafter.
Yeah.
I also suggested you use aspects on the guy.
Well, for Clarity of Emptiness, the book states it's Wits plus Occult at Div 7. So that adds... I've got the information here. Where'd I put it?
It will add 1 die to your next mental dice pool that you make.
Per success.
Per success. Yeah.
Alright, let's see how we go with this.
Is this a ritual?
No, it's a discipline.
Nope. It's a combo discipline.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Very fitting for Labiana. Oh, only one.
Okay, well,
It's something.
alright, well, it's an extra dice.
It's kind of willpower point, you know, kinda.
Pretty much, because it enhances the mental attributes in a way. So, what she might then do is after this man is pointed out to Labiana, she might have another go at perhaps reading the soul specifically on this man.
Okay, go for it.
Now, just clarifying, I don't think willpower can be used for this particular role, right?
Yes, it can.
Yeah, okay. So... I'll use the sheet to do this. So 1 extra dice and power. Ooh, that's a fail, thankfully. I think.
Sure, really unlucky. Did you get your extra die? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That's 0 success.
Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, today this does not seem to be your night.
Nope.
Um,
That changes soon.
as you guys are talking, the 3 approach you. And continue having your conversation. It's going to take them a minute to reach you. If you have anything else to say before they get there.
Not anything to say, but I'd like. So there's 3 approaching us, right?
Yes.
I want to get a quick look at them.
Okay, you can see them.
Yeah. Anything stand out about them?
No.
Okay.
The only thing that stands out about them is that one of them is the lead one, who appears to be in the lead, is a female. And she has a big, one of those wooden cups with her that she's constantly drinking out of.
Would the description that you received of the rituals being a form of drawing power from the people, would this be something that could be correlated to the I forgot the name, the Tophets in Carthage?
No, this is very different. The Tophits ripped power from people. It tore it out of their soul. This is voluntary.
Out, perhaps depending on various factors, it might be, deceived, but still voluntary.
I honestly, I think Nicodemus would have the best insight into this because his Watcher Valerian at the highest level, at level 5, allows him to, I think it's level 5,
Yes,
can
it
sustain
is.
himself by breath, right?
Yes,
by harvesting life force from people's breath a little at a time. And that's what, to Nicodemus, that's what this kind of reminds him of. Just a little bit from everybody, all at once.
Interesting.
So they approach you, and when they reach there, the three of them say, "It approaches the climax. Pay attention." And they turn to look.
Cool.
As the beat becomes almost a frenzy, the man tears his clothing off, allows it to fall to the floor. And he approaches the altar and he grabs the knife and he loudly announces that his life now belongs to the goddess, to the great mother. May she accept my sacrifice and take me unto her ranks, and to grant me the power to serve her as she will. And he, with one swift and very painful slice, removes his manhood and throws it at the feet of the goddess.
Does
Yeah.
it wither?
No, it
These
bleeds.
types of rituals.
It bleeds.
Does
Blood
this-
begins
does
running down
this-
his legs, and he's obviously in great pain
Yes.
as he staggers over to the altar and grabs one of the pots and picks something up out of it, a big glob of something, and slams it onto his where they used to be,
Wound.
and rubs it over them, and you see the wounds just like that close.
Obviously, he isn't exactly happy with it. Well, he's not exactly, enjoying what's going on, obviously, but how does he seem to be coping with the pain? And does he seem to be doing surprisingly well, all things considered?
No, because he passes out after he rubs this salve over over where his genitals used to be.
Well,
I
okay
was
then.
just about to say,
Yeah.
did he pass out?
Nicodemus, you have a chance to roll your aura sight again.
At the man and his
Yes.
what he does.
Yes, as he's doing this, as this is happening, you have a chance to look out and activate this again.
That of character. I've just figured out exactly what's going on. Took me a while. I'm like, hang on.
Unfortunately, for the rest of the night, your aura sight will not be able to be used.
Oh no.
Is this a conscious realization or it just automatically fails?
It will just automatically fail as you tried to use it, and because of the severity of your botch, it's will just auto fail the rest of the night.
You're just so frustrated by the previous attempt that whenever you go back to trying it again, you just get remembering, get annoyed, and just.
It's a self-defeating
gets-
attitude.
It gets worse and worse each time.
Yeah, so he passes out, and there's a great cheering of the crowd, and they rush the altar and they pick him up, and they begin to carry him up to the steps, where he's going to presumably get some medical attention.
Oh yeah.
And you see a couple of the acolytes rush to the altar and begin to clean it.
What do they do with the dick?
They throw it into a fire.
Do they still
Oh
have?
no. Don't worry, keep going.
The
They still
the fleshy remnants are being burned as you speak.
the ointment or whatever they used. Is that still out, or have they packed
Yes,
that
it's on the
away?
table.
Without like I'm gonna try and like peer over it without obviously just walking up. I'm not going up and straight up manhandling everything, but I want to like sort of try and squint a bit, get a close look, see if I can pick anything out about it.
Do you have
Seem
auspex?
like no,
No. Then you will not be able to tell anything unusual about it.
damn. I need to pick that up at some point.
To you, it looks like a medical salve that Nicodemus might have in his bag at the very moment. It's a paste.
Ah. So it essentially cauterizes wounds?
Without a detailed medical examination, you're not going to be able to tell. What you could tell, he
Yeah.
grabbed a handful of it, smacked it on the wound, rubbed it around, and the bleeding apparently stopped, and he fell over unconscious.
Nicodemus is very much interested in this salve. Is it possible to investigate it from this distance? Failing that, Nicodemus intends to somehow get close to it and examine it.
From this distance, it just looks like it's in a cup. That's all you can tell. You have to get close to it.
Can we use the commotion to cover Nicodemus's attempt to get close to it and at least touch it and glean as much from it as possible?
So, as you're staring at it, the three that came over to you look, and they see your curiosity, especially Nicodemus and Hatshepsut, because Hatshepsut has that particular flaw.
Oh yeah.
And
Right.
they look, and the lady says, "If you want to get a closer look, all you have to do is ask. We invited you here."
Oh, that would be very much appreciated. We didn't want to overstep our bounds.
As the crowd is filing out, the last few, you can hear the party continuing upstairs, even though it seems to be breaking up. A few of the low-ranking, newest cult members are cleaning, scrubbing the blood up, and beginning to tidy up. And she says, "Well, follow me." And she approaches, and she puts her hands out, and she says, "Back away for a few moments.
Very well.
We have some visitors." And she brings you up to the altar.
Mhm.
And you look at the mixture of stuff on the table. There's knives, some that are curved, some that are double bladed, some that have a double edge, some that have a single edge. Looks like a variety of stuff. There's a mortar and pestle, the grinder, cup and a grinder sort of deal. There's several of those cups, and they have different colored paste in them.
So there's noting the fact that there's more than just like one color. I'll just note.
Are there any kind of plants they grounded on the mortar that produced the paste? Maybe some leftover leaves or something?
Yeah, there's some stuff in it, some powder remnants. But it appears to be more for a ceremonial thing there. Maybe it's just like a ritual implement there to be there. So she guides you guys up there, and you looking at this table near the altar. It's got a cloth over it, and the implements are laid out in front of you. And the three of them are looking, and you see the woman. She is attractive. The dirt, all this of the festival, There's no dirt on her clothes. There's no sweat stains, nothing like that on her garments.
Interesting.
Of the two with her, at least one is a eunuch, you can tell. He is quite pale. He has ink stains on his hands, and his hands are dirty. And the other one standing there could be either a man or a woman. It's hard to tell. But they seem pretty bored. They're just kind of like looking off in the distance, like, oh my god, this is so boring.
They're presumably the one that's in it mostly for the party.
Or he's just a new guy. Or the muscle guy.
No, but yes, noting how there are like there seems to be different types of paste around. I'll just motion towards them and say, I take it these all have different purposes.
Well,
They
I would
are
explain
talking
it,
about torture.
but you do not have the proper, shall we say, membership. I will allow you to get an up-close look at all of these. You may touch them, even, because I need to ritually clean them anyways. But
So,
you may not take anything with you.
understandable, and thank you. I appreciate this. So yeah, I'll like sort of like start going forward to like sort of like maybe like gently press a finger to one of the pastes.
It's a
sort of
paste.
examine
Yeah.
examine the cups. Like just basically not anything too drastic, but getting a feel for it.
Yeah. What's funny here is that none of this stuff seems to be impressive. Like, it's not gold. Nothing here is bejeweled. You could go out to the corner store and get this stuff, and it'd be like, okay.
Is anything golden or silvered or whatever? Does any of this in this room, the altar, is made with any impressive?
That's the altar itself. Does have some gold on it. The main thing that you notice is up close to the main statue. The face appears is, as I said, obsidian, and it has been highly polished and carved. Obsidian is an extremely brittle stone, and it's very, very difficult to carve because it just tends to shatter.
Is it at all possible to craft it by any humane means to this kind of level? It would require would it require a master craftsman, like
Yeah.
one in a million?
It takes no crafting knowledge to understand that whoever made the mask, it's not like lifelike, all right? It's not like the statue of David. But whoever made it, they actually managed to get some curves in it. They managed to put some holes in it. And obsidian, as you guys all understand, if you hit that thing wrong, it'll shatter into a million pieces. It's just brittle. So whoever did that took an immense amount of time and patience to carve.
And it's still at a danger that at any moment someone can trip it and it will just fall down into pieces.
Yeah, they could hit it with a hammer and it'd shatter beyond repair.
Another question: Can Nicodemus put his hand over the salve that the new eunuch used?
Yes, you can touch it, pick it up.
And spirit touch it?
Yes, you can. Spirit touch will work great, actually.
Actually, I was just thinking that because whilst all this is going on, I was just going to say Lobiena's kind of slowly paced her way to them, I was gonna take a closer look at the statue.
It's a statue.
Yeah.
Okay, perception plus empathy then. Not sure what kind of difficulty.
All right. As you guys are looking and talking, this and that, Decius, you accidentally step on a brush, and the brush goes flying one way, and you go flying the other, and you perform a pratfall, and you slam the back of your head on the floor, and the rest of you falls in an undignified heap as you upend the bucket, and you are drenched in soapy, bloody water,
What's a brush?
like a horse brush or a shoe polish brush.
Like the scrubbing brush.
Yeah, a scrubby brush.
It's like these long things that you clean the ground or
floor with.
something.
Yes,
Okay.
it's like a mop with hard bristles.
Okay. So I trip essentially.
Yeah, you accidentally step on the thing because you're not paying attention. It goes one way, you go another, and you land on the bucket, and you upend it, and you soak yourself in bloody, soapy water, just nasty stuff.
Yeah, I will.
Decius.
Decius, roll your self-control at difficulty 3, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Lobby, and I'll just kind of turn ahead.
Difficulty 3.
Yes.
Can I spend a willpower or can I re-roll?
All right. Well, here's what happens. You can re-roll at. You can spend a willpower to re-roll. I'll let you do that.
Okay, that seems fair in this case.
I'll have you re-roll at difficulty 4.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to. The bucket, is it all on my head? Is it
No,
like
it just
covering my
like
head?
it landed beside you,
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
like half of my
like your right hand side is just nasty.
soaked and all that. Yeah, I'm going to get up. I'm going to look. I'm going to try to keep my face. Try to keep it cool. Essentially, act cool. I will get up. Shake my hand a little bit to just let some of the water just splash to the ground. I'm going to look at the person. I'm just gonna ask if they have a towel or something so that I can dry this.
Lobby, and I'll do that. The spirit's touch thing, that is.
Yeah. The two women / creatures, thingies, eunuchs with her, cannot stop for themselves from laughing at you. They burst out into like giggles, and they're trying to hide it, and they can't. The lady gestures at one of the acolytes. She says, fetch him a sheet. She says, unfortunately, we don't have a change of clothes for you, but we can help you dry off a little bit.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I will look at the two person laughing. I won't show a visible anger or spite or anything on my face. I'm just going to look at them, like stare for a second or two, then essentially look normal, like stare normal, I should say.
Yeah, they're doing the whole hand over their mouth, and they're trying not to laugh, and the tears are coming up out of their eyes, and you can hear them going, trying to hold it back.
Yeah. No, Decius will not make a comment or look angry or anything. He will just just soak this thing essentially. Try to get over with it.
All right, Labiana, you got 2 successes on Spirit's Touch. All right, you get 2 pieces of basic information. You touch the paste, or you're touching the paste or the statue.
She's probably more interested in the statue at this point.
Okay, you touch the statue, and the first piece of information you get is the most recent one, and you see from the perspective of the statue a man offer of his own flesh to you and throw it at your feet. You get the impression this happens. This has happened several times in the past. The second basic piece of information is that most of the statue is less than 100 years old. The obsidian mask is several hundred years old.
Okay. Interesting.
Here's a
Yeah,
round
Olivia
of
will nod her head a little bit and take a step back.
All right,
here's a,
say Nicodemus, you need to make your roll.
Oof.
No, so you said you're touching the paste, right? You touch the paste, you run your finger through it, you rub it between your finger and your thumb, you smell it. It smells like healing herbs. You've smelled a similar concoctions in the past. There's nothing to indicate why it works so effectively or instantly. You feel like you could probably make something very similar, but maybe not as effective. So, Hatshepsut, you were going to say something.
just a minor point of curiosity. Well, a minor curiosity and then a legit. First of all, the minor point. The mask. You mentioned it was polished as well as everything else. Just a random point. Is it like polished enough to be reflective?
Dimly, like the glow of a torch, you can see kind of shining off of it. It's not like you'd have. First off, you'd have to get up. You'd have to raise yourself by over a meter in the air to get to it, because
But
it's not within hand's reach.
well, yeah, obvious, yeah, but it's not like polished to the extent of like those mirrors they had in Mesoamerica.
It's not Captain Phasma chrome polished, no. But you can see the light of a torch dimly, kind of like orangey, giving you a little orangey glow reflection off of it.
The other question, looking across everything, just as an idle point, do there seem to be any representations of the stars in the whole ritual
No.
arrangement?
No, there is
Okay.
not.
Oh, third final thing then, as a sort of like, can I recognize any particular symbols or elements? Obviously, I don't have enough context to pick out what everything is overall, but can I recognize some, like, these commonly feature in so and so kinds of rituals, or so, that kind of thing?
Roll your intelligence and theology.
Base diff or
6, yeah.
I've actually got a good dice pool for that kind of roll.
Sorry, is the man that cut his genital here?
No, he has been taken away.
he's gonna need to sleep that off.
Yeah.
I
He's in
thought
the-
we were going to see him.
In the infirmary, essentially.
Are we going to meet with that guy, or are we not going
No.
to do that?
No, you're not.
No, he.
He's probably still
Okay, then
unconscious.
I misunderstood earlier. I thought like they offered us to go and meet with him if we were more curious?
No, he needs to rest.
Okay, so we are here to just check the altar here.
Right. People express curiosity. They want you to join the cult.
Okay, yeah. So there's like a bunch of things on the altars, but is there anything else that seems to be interesting?
Probably not to you.
Okay.
All right, Hatshepsut. This goddess was brought here during at the start of the Second Punic War because it was prophesied that Rome would fall without her. This cult, this religion, is regulated because of practices like this. Roman citizens are not allowed to be part of it because they don't want Roman citizens castrating themselves.
Mm.
Aha.
Men do join, but to reach more than the lowest acolyte, you must be castrated. Women also castrate themselves in the form of cutting off their breasts and their clitoris. But that's more rare.
This is disgusting.
It is quite disgusting, and it is quite dangerous, actually.
But yeah. They said before that there might be things on the altar that may not be of any interest to Decius. What about Labiena?
Labiana, you see standard ritual implements. You would see this stuff on any altar, really.
It's even on their own, I suppose.
So the three of them, or the woman looks at you guys and she says, Have you satisfied yourself tonight?
We are curious about something. You say that there'll be. And this woman in question is Discordia, right? Or is this another woman?
This is not Discorde. She is actually nowhere to be seen.
I'm curious about the old
Labiena was gonna
Protoss
ask.
here. Did she left already?
Discorde is a loyal servant of the goddess.
She has other matters to attend to in the name of the goddess. I assume then.
She does have matters to attend to at my instruction.
You are the leader of the cult.
Your insight never ceases to amaze me, and that was incredibly sarcastic.
God, like, because that just hit a connection in my head, but it feels like that I'm only making that connection because some out of game knowledge, but I'm not sure now. Oh God.
Yeah, I having the same.
Do it.
I'm having the same thought.
Because
Do it.
so I'll just ask for your opinion as arbitrator, GM. Would that kind of comment be enough to bring back memories of a certain barley?
Sure, why not? If it reminds you of her, then sure.
And
Oh boy.
so studying her, can I pick out any similarities?
Oh, they look nothing alike.
Okay, so if it is the same person, then if there is something going on here, then at the very least there's been a change in appearance. But
Well, she's also been drinking heavily out of a cup of wine, and it is wine, as you can see in her bowl.
I see.
I mean, kindreds can drink human stuff for temporary time.
If they have a specific merit, or more to the point,
Or-
if
Mm,
they're
Yeah,
possessing
discipline
someone,
power.
They just need to spend willpower.
if they're possessing someone. But I will keep such thoughts to myself, such wild speculation to myself. There is one thing that we wish to clarify before the final decision, the complete decision, pledge is made. If we were to join our cult under yours, what sort of, well, essentially, how much would we have to change to enjoy your protection? How much would we have to, essentially, well, this is, in a sense, almost a trade. What would we have to give?
She starts laughing. She says, You Strigoi, you're all the same. So concerned with your own petty power games and so busy worrying about am I gonna maintain my comfortable life? Am I going to be able to still order people around? I am continually amazed by how alike you all are.
It's something. It's something of a self-perpetuating cycle. When you're in a den of vipers, it behooves you far too often to act like one.
The way that you speak, the content on your voice is for a kind. I assume that you are not one of our kind in that case. Are you a mortal? Or are you something else?
I am a servant of the goddess, as you should be as well. I breathe and I eat and I drink. Does that make me one of you? Or does that make me immortal? Or does that make me something else?
There are many things that are between that are out there that are neither mortal nor one of us.
I serve the goddess and the goddess grants me power. Power that could potentially be yours, should you join us. In time.
Power. That's an interesting word to use. What do you define power as?
She empowers me to do the things that need to be done to serve her.
And that's power for you. In your eyes, that is power.
What other kind is there?
There are many forms of power.
Indeed, power.
Power
is a
to
word
order people
game.
around. Power to make them dance to your tune. Is that what you mean by power?
That's a brute way to define power. It's not so simple.
Wait,
It's not so strict. There is much
Power
more to
power is what?
power.
Is what? The ability to get what you want? Is that power?
if I may, I believe we're starting to get sidetracked. Though I, in a sense, I respect the, well, the directness of your earlier answer. I do still wish to hear if there are any specific practices that we will need to adopt ourselves to complete this whole arrangement.
Of course there will be. You will have to perform the ritual of subservience to the Great Mother, as did we all standing here. As did every member of the crowd that you saw.
Is that ritual?
You will have to sacrifice to her. You will have to
It
swear
has been
your undying loyalty to the Great Mother. And for you, I believe undying is literally undying.
This great mother. Can we meet with her? Can we speak with her?
She points to the statue. Pray.
Albina heads over to the statue, kneeling in front of it, putting her head against the statue.
I will observe Albina like very intensely. Just
Yeah, Albina kneels to pray, and while she's doing that and nothing's happening to her, you guys continue the conversation.
okay. This cult will provide things to us, and in return there will be responsibilities. It is understandable and expected. We are no childs here. We know what we are talking about on this metaphorical table, around this metaphorical table. But there are many factors when the important decisions are made, and this is one of the important decisions being put in front of us. Do you know who our patron is?
I know some things. Other things are a mystery to me.
Do you know if some of our alignments not work with you?
If you swear loyalty to the goddess, you will do as she and her servant, i.e., me, commands.
I see. So, submission. I got my answer. I will leave the rest of the questions to my coterie to ask.
At this point, Lubian is just watching the exchange in complete silence. She really has nothing to add to this. She doesn't plan on really going any further with it. She's pretty much
Yeah.
ready to leave.
Yeah, pretty much this use as well. After hearing the submission, he went like, nope, I'm not joining to this.
Yeah. Hat is going to take a few moments, closing her eyes, just sorting back through everything that's happened. Weighing up the potential this has as both the potential this has as another face of the figure she serves, possibility instead of a conflict of interests, and eventually, somewhat reluctantly, opens her eyes again, looking to the others to see, basically read the room of the coterie.
Yeah, it seems like the prevailing opinion is not worth it.
What does... I just want to ask, what does Nicodemus think? He actually didn't say anything yet. Or did he?
I don't believe he has said anything yet. I would like to know what he has to say.
Orpel? Are you drunk? We can't hear
I
you.
think I preferred the other negotiator. She was much more pleasant.
Yeah.
It's funny that that we're being mocked at the entry, and then there's this whole power discussion.
Yep, and her behavior, all that very disrespectful. This will just before headships. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these words were in character.
Okay. This will look at Albina and kinda not shout, but essentially like speak a bit loud for her to hear him, and he will say, Albina, can you please come here if your prayer is finished?
Did she heard anything? She spoke. She prayed and spoke to the statue.
Yes, nothing at all.
Not feel any supernatural presence out of it. She cannot. It's not like the statue back in Greece, the one that they found that had a demon in it, the one that she collapsed the temple on top of.
Correct. It is a piece of stone.
Yeah.
He gets up and goes over. Yes, Cassius.
Did you hear what we spoke last 5 seconds?
Yes.
Let us take a brief second to just talk among ourselves. We will be right back with you.
I don't think that's
I'll-
necessary. I think your decision is clear. I can read the room as well as you can.
Well, that
We-
saves us some time then.
For what it's worth, we apologize if we've made you feel like you've wasted your time.
I've wasted nothing. I have gained valuable intelligence.
Indeed, both of us, both sides gained valuable intelligence.
Ah.
Who knows? Maybe this whole meeting was for this purpose only.
Oh no, no, the meeting was to recruit men and women. And Strigoi, who could serve
What-
the Great Mother.
What's Dragoi?
Strigoi, out of character here, is the common parlance for vampires. It's
Okay.
it's the what a person who didn't know that you call yourselves Canites would call you.
Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking like, is he using that? Is he using that as a like what's it? A curse or something like that? Like, what is the word for it? You know, like making someone feel shame or whatever. I don't know.
No, it's literally just like in like actual Roman mythology, the equivalent to a vampire.
It's like vampire saying lupine to Guru, essentially. Okay.
Saying werewolf to Guru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty much the end, at least for tonight. End of the journey for us.
Let's not waste too much time bandying words here.
Yes.
We thank you for allowing us to even attend this. Even with all this, I hope that we have not come across as too ungrateful.
I'm sure some of us are very grateful for being here. The hospitality you showed is unexpected but welcome.
Regardless,
And
we shall bother you no more. Good evening.
we know where the exit is. We will.
The two that accompany her will escort you out of the temple.
Okay.
She stays behind.
Okay. I will, before we leave, I want to make like an insight check to see her emotions. Was she annoyed, angry, or any other emotion before I leave? Just want to make an insight check.
You don't have to make a check. She's disappointed. She had hoped that you would join. You have disappointed
Okay.
her.
Okay. Well, sucks for her.
Yeah. Well, as I say, not that Labiana cares about that.
Did she seem to at least have some appreciation that we were trying to be somewhat polite about it? Or did she not care?
You can't tell. I will say that you all understood that she was prepared for violence. If you got violent, she was prepared. She just had that air about her.
Yeah. I mean, the way I mean, she was pretty aggressive towards the end of this conversation. The way she spoke about us and tone and
I'd say she was aggressive from the starting point,
yeah.
and
general sense.
that's probably what nuked the negotiations. At least that's how Nicodemus sees it.
Perhaps a third larger cult to approach us will understand to keep a gentle face for both stages of the negotiation.
And that's why he said that he preferred the other negotiator.
Yeah, the other negotiator, the other girl
Anyway.
was like more polite and all that.
One-
So yeah, we leave the party.
Yeah.
We-
Once we've made some distance from the building, I'll just
Before, before Albina leaves, she's going to look up down. She's going to. Is there other ways to serve the Great Mother? Ones that not call for submission, like this?
You must love and serve the Great Mother. And this is one of the one with the ink stains on his hand as you're leaving. It says, everyone submits to her. Everyone.
I did not hurt her as I prayed to her.
Then she saw fit not to speak to you.
How may I become fit to speak to her?
Submit.
I think you're the Sombra.
Alright.
Yeah, Hatshepsut, you're getting tinglings of this seems much more like a Setite indoctrination than anything else. You know, levels of mystery and all that.
Yeah, I'm going to, like, pull everyone away.
You very much recognize the negotiation tactic going on here. You have to start at a
Yeah.
low level, and the mysteries are revealed to you. You
Yep.
have seen this many times.
No, I
Yeah.
think we leave. Like all of us leave after
Yeah.
this. Well, I mean, if Albina is left behind, one of us or several of us will drag her with us, like so that she doesn't stay behind more.
We're not leaving her. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
she's
just-
she's
we'll-
kind of seem to be tempted.
Yeah, we'll wait until she's finished, and if it drags along, we'll just drag her out.
Yeah. Well, essentially, Labiena's not really waiting for anyone. She's just up and she's still walking back to the pavement.
I think you shouldn't leave the group, even if you are going to the exit. You shouldn't
Well,
leave the group. You should stay. with
Nobody
us.
leaves the group. You all stick together. You leave.
Yeah.
You're on the streets of Rome. Now you can do what you want.
Yeah. Okay, we are on the street. Okay, okay. Listen. Once we go to the Haven, we will have to talk about what happened with the meeting with the politician. I forgot his name. He asked us to do something for him in exchange of getting the documents, and we agreed in the name of the coterie because, well, some of you weren't able to be here, so we had to speak in the coterie's name, Nicodemus and I. We came to a decision. We agreed to do the favor. Once we are in a more private place, not in the streets, I will explain what we agreed upon, and then we can discuss about our next action.
We should also prepare.
What about those guys?
What do you mean,
That-
those guys?
That seems like a more pressing concern. Do you think it ends here of us saying no? She also said that always submit to the Great Mother.
Listen,
Oh, mother she is, castrating them.
I
Where do you get
understand.
babies from, bitch?
I understand where you are coming from, Nicodemus, but tonight, at this very moment, we don't really have a string we can follow, an action we can do as a retaliation or something. We
We don't need retaliation. We need preparation because
we can make preparations, be assured we will make preparations, but I'm talking about very near future right now. I'm just going to explain what we agreed upon and we will have to do that. And while we are doing that, we can of course prepare, increase our defenses, if you would like to call it so. And remember, you chose to join a patron's patronship for somewhat exact reason, maybe a little more severe, more intense reason, but nonetheless, it was a familiar reason that you chose to take help from a patron. So, to some extent, you already did the biggest defense you could accomplish.
Come, we're talking in circles again. Let's just focus on getting back home. Yes.
Indeed. I mean, for now, at least, we currently have nothing to defend against. Nothing wrong with being prepared, of course, but I just think, we should at least put our thoughts and efforts to other matters for the time being. If anything crops up, where we may end up being approached, rather reapproached or threatened by them, then of course that would be a good time to revisit this matter.
No. This is our problem. This is our weakness. We always go on the reactive side. We should take advantage. We never take advantage. We never take action. We always, let's see what happens. And
Listen.
no, you listen. We're going to think this through. Did you not notice the particular dynamics? She was the boss, the mortal was the boss, and the vampire was the subservient one. Does it not strike you as odd? Perhaps they don't understand the particular dynamics that govern our society, that they're patrons and clients. And she only said, "Well, I know some things, but I don't know other things," and it was obvious she doesn't care. Now, the way conversation went, it really didn't put us in a favorable light. And the aura about her, she was ready for violence because she knew about her kind. And eventually, we need to have some provisional defenses. Be on the lookout for any signs of trouble and some planned actions to do when they appear.
There's nothing.
Nicodemus, we were in there surrounded by 100, if not more, fanatics, including that kindred, that the individual that contacted with us first, and also that female who seems to be the boss of them. If they wanted to take care of us, they had maybe the biggest advantage a few minutes ago. But they did not do it after we told them that we do not want to join them. At least for the time being. At least for the time being. Their intention is probably not to attack us in some way, whatever way that might be. They might wait. They might wait. They might wait for a moment. They might wait for an opportunity. They might scheme. They might wait for the civil war they mentioned to take action. But either case, they did not kill us when they had the opportunity, when they surrounded us with 100 fanatics. So you need to relax. You seem to be a little too, how to say it, intense right now. You need to take a moment, relax, and think through. We will prepare, we will take our defenses, we will make sure that our cult is protected. We will do everything we have in our power to have the utmost security and insurance.
Hey, that sounds better.
Yes.
After that we can wait for them to strike first, because if we strike first to them, they are bigger than us. We do not know a lot of things about them. Third, they have a human who seems to be the boss of a kindred. That on its own gives a certain message. She is not a weak human or anything. She must have something special. That is a danger. A danger that we should not blindly rage upon. By rage upon, do not take it as straight, literal rage. I'm talking metaphorically here. We need to make every protection we can make, and then wait for them to do the first strike.
Yes,
It-
but all,
it did not-
but all I was saying before is that yes, that is probably something we should think about, but not particularly at this point in time this night.
I do not understand why you rejected them like this.
Listen, Albina, the word she used was literally submission. She wanted us to submit to her goddess. And the words she used was that, or something similar to the words she used was that by submitting to her goddess, we are submitting to her because she is the voice of her goddess.
So,
So you are okay with submitting to a mortal?
she has the power to back those words, which she seems to have. And if she does not have that power, then we'll merely kill her once we discover that.
Could she
We
not detect if it was a deception on our part upon joining?
What?
Would she not detect if it was deception on our part upon joining? Would
It's
you
not deception.
they listen. Our cult has mysterious things in their mysterious powers. Our cult have mysterious powers. They did also something mysterious when the man cut his genital. See, they are not just a normal cult. You do not know what kind of things, powers they have, whatever source it might be. It can be influence, it can be resources, it can be supernatural, whatever. They have powers. That we should be certain of, even if we do not know the answer ourselves right now. You do not know the intricacies, the mysterious stuff they can do. It's not so easy as you make it to be right now to just join a cult, then wait for the moment to see if the boss is weak or not, and then strike if she is weak.
If they do have these supernatural things that allows her to be in charge of the cult, then she's not weak.
Well-
If we kill her, she's weak. If we cannot, she isn't.
Well, perhaps whether or not they have supernatural things is besides the point here. I mean, are any of you even considering worshipping any other deities than our own cult does?
The deities of a cult
And
means
if
nothing.
so, why?
They mean nothing to you. They are a they they are a tool to keep the mortals.
Listen, I understand the desire you see in joining them, Albina, but I personally do not bow to a mortal. I simply do not bow to a mortal, even if she might be strong. Do you know who else is strong? Our prince is strong. Your sire is strong. Their sire is strong. My sire is strong. There are many strong people here, and there are many weak people here. If you want to seek power and take it, there are many ways to do it. One way to do it is, of course, submitting to a mortal. But why would I do that when there are better options? When there are more dignifying options. If you personally wish to submit to a mortal, hoping that it will bring power to you, either through serving to the mortal or usurping, taking her power yourself when you see that she is weak, weaker than she makes herself to be, well, you do that.
For my part, I simply, well, my more unquestionable loyalty has already been pledged, and it wouldn't do to pledge it again without being absolutely certain that the cause is aligned.
Yes, there is also another thing that we are somewhat pledging too many loyalties right now. We have the loyalty towards our patron, loyalty towards our sires or mentors or whatever you name it. Bunch of loyalties hanging around is not a good thing. However, it might sound appealing, maybe to some of you. You cannot be strictly loyal to several people, then not expect a clash of loyalty.
Regardless, the decision is already made. There's no sense crying over it.
Yes.
We should focus on what's to come.
This is true. Let's go to the Haven. Let's discuss about the favor we owe to the politician and think about what we want to do about that. We need to bring those documents to the individual in Greece. That debt must be repaid. The more time we waste is, well, it will become worse. The more they have to wait.
Actually, out of character, what sort of time of the night is it right now?
It's about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Because I just realised out of character that we apparently still need to see our patron.
Oh yeah,
I believe
we do.
he asked to see us.
But I think we need to make an announcement. We cannot just... Can we? Can we just show up, Chris?
Well,
He did,
he
like
probably, number one, you probably don't know where he is right at the moment, and yeah, it's much better to send a messenger where you know where he's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get the...
So
I
we can do that
understand.
once. The in-character Labiana kind of brings that
Okay.
up, and it's like, not to mention, we still need to. Our patron has asked to see us, so we should probably send a messenger once we get back to the Haven and arrange that meeting as well.
Well, what time of the year is it? Like how early is the sun rising?
It's April 4th,
So sun's probably rising a bit
about
earlier.
4 hours.
So I'll just we might actually want to hold off the meeting with our patron till tomorrow.
Yes.
How about this?
we can still send the messenger now.
I suppose that's
I'm
fair,
prepared
but
for it.
let's just get this all set out now so that we can all be a bit calm. Tonight we go back home, we send the messenger, and we discuss the matter with the documents. Then tomorrow we have a meeting with the patron, and assuming that we aren't given an immediately pressing task by him, then after that we will look to shoring up our resources. Does that seem agreeable to you all?
Do what again?
I'm saying that first we get back home, we send the messenger, and we discuss the matter with documents. Tomorrow we go to meet our patron, and assuming he doesn't give us like a priority 1 task or whatever, we then after that look at our. Sorry.
And after that
Look-
we can discuss about our resources, like backgrounds, etc.
Yeah.
What we can do about improving the cult's defenses and all that stuff. We can do that tactical discussion. I think I should send a messenger to our patron. Just
There we go. I just wanted to cap with the discussion with the meeting with the other cults that our own lives weren't even a question, and the fact, never mind. It's the fact. It's about our cult. If anything's going to take a hit out of this confrontation, it's going to be our cult. This is what should be primarily concerned of.
yeah, I understand. I think that's our plan as well. We agreed to focus on what we can do to protect our cult, and to do that, we will tomorrow discuss about what kind of resources, powers we have in our hand to help.
Okay.
So we will do that.
I
no
think it's
worries.
a good time. Let's take a 10-minute break. I'll come back in 10.
Yep.
Okay, we're back. You guys made it back to your haven. You've dispatched a messenger to Alexander. It's close to dawn when the messenger returns, and with Alexander's reply, he said unless it's really, really urgent, he doesn't need to see you, but he would like to see you in 2 weeks, and he tells you where. It's an address on the Quirinal Hill.
Okay, so it's not that important. at least as far as
Yeah.
what he says.
But if you need to see him urgently for something, you usually know how to get him.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think we have anything urgent. We wanted to meet with him because he wanted to meet with
Yeah.
us.
And there is a letter waiting on Nicodemus, and it was delivered through his Collegium Medicus. It was not delivered directly here. It is a request from Vivlia, or Libris, as some of you know him, would like to meet with Nicodemus to continue the discussion they were having a few years ago.
I
Sure.
will. I will
Uh,
just. Oh, sorry, go on.
Okay. Nicodemus would send a cordial reply saying that 2 weeks then. Yeah, Vivlia would like a precise date and time, down to the last second, probably. So let's offer a meeting in a week's time on 2 hours before sundown.
After sundown?
After
Yeah.
sundown.
Yeah, okay.
What did I
No,
say?
we're gonna bird up.
Yeah, you send it to Mithras, he'd be like, all right, I'll be there. You send that to Libris, he's like, I don't think so.
I think you miss. I think you made a scribing error.
Okay, yeah. All right, and Decius is sending a message to his mentor asking to meet. All right. Given that it is quite late, we'll go ahead and skip forward tonight.
But we regain willpower.
Yeah, you guys are going to regain a willpower. We'll spend a blood
Spell a
to
point.
revive yourself from your death sleep. Decius, you are going to go to the an area where you guys typically would meet. Sort of like a market area. Your mentor is there with his standard retinue of guards and stuff to keep the curious away from him. This is not, I will emphasize, it's not the bathhouse.
Okay.
So he's out doing what he does, and you go to talk to him. So
Okay. I will approach and try to get close to him so that I can speak quietly, and it will be only us, at least, who hears what I'm saying.
yep.
I will quietly say, the rumors, mentor, are spreading around. Some kindreds and some mortals are mentioning that a civil war is coming.
Well, they've been saying that for 30 years now. Yeah, 30 years. Ever since Gaius and Tiberius.
I believe so.
It hasn't happened
And-
yet.
Yes, indeed, it hasn't happened yet, but there is a tension rising up through the more mortal politicians. And I just wanted to ask what you think about this. If a civil war happens in Italy, it could be a messy thing.
Well, all war is a messy thing. What matters is how you take advantage of it.
There might be those that want to strike the Senate while war is going on, try to backstab, put forward their schemes. We might enter a world of treachery and uncertainty.
Those in the Eternal Senate already stabbed themselves. We are in a world of treachery, in case you hadn't noticed. What exactly are you asking? What do you want to know?
I I just want to know that when, if the civil war happens, I just want to know that I will be able to serve to the right side for my elders. And you're one of the most important elders in my own life.
The right side is no side. The right side is your side. You should try hard to remain neutral. Do not take one faction over another. Should such factions rear their hydra heads here in Rome amongst our kind. Now, if circumstances force you to take a side, I would choose the side of power in Rome.
See the wisdom in that. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with me, mentor.
I do have more advice for you.
Yes, I'm listening.
To be prepared and not to be a leaf swinging in the breeze, you should recruit followers. There are
Mortal?
those who can absorb the blows of the court for you.
He means by followers like kindreds or mortals?
Kindred.
Good, okay. I actually have plans. I do wish to become a patron. I wish to become the patron of 4 kindreds.
How are you going to
young
do that?
neonates. I've been busy for the few nights, but after tonight I intend to wait for the right moment to help, reach with my hand and help for kindreds in need of my help, even if they are not aware of it. And once I strike, I intend to gain their trust, or a level of trust, and invest in them, hoping that the return will be their loyalty.
Well, if you are afraid of a coming fraction, a splitting of loyalties here in the city, I suggest you speed this process up. I would do so by, well, you're in a coterie with the Childa of the Scourge, are you not?
Yes, Albina Pallas. Her sire does the bloody job she has.
If I were you, I would approach Albina, and through Albina, ask to work with her sire to identify easy targets, and then go to those targets and extend your protection. That will make the Scourge's job easier, and it will let them know that they owe you their lives. However, the downside to this, as with any patronage relationship, is that you become responsible for their behavior.
I already gave enough thought about the responsibility I will be taking, and I do feel that I am ready to take it.
Then you better get going.
I will not give a respectful gesture, essentially, before leaving. I'll say thank you for sharing your wisdom with me, mentor. And then I will leave with my people.
Okay. Does anybody want to do something before a week passes?
Well, I
Did we have a discussion about about returning the place to Athens?
Yeah,
Yes, that
I
needs to
think
happen.
yeah. So I think we meet up in the Coterie Haven and start talking about this. Well, okay. Here's the thing. Once we spoke with the politician, I forgot his name or whatever. When we spoke with the politician, he told us that he would give the documents to us if we assassinated a certain certain politician, and his name was. Now I'm backtracking.
Marcus
Marcus
Livius
Livius
Drusus,
Drusus.
Yes,
the tribune of the plebs.
yes. He believes that the tribune of the plebs will lead. He will lead Italy to a civil war, and he does not want that. He wants us to take care of him permanently, lethally. Now,
If I remember correctly, his words was if something has to happen to him, he does not need to die. He just needs to be removed from his position, or at least have the bite of his position taken away.
that's certainly one way to solve it. I was just thinking that considering we have a lot of things in our hands we need to take care of right now, and there's a possible chance of a war between a war between our cult and another cult possibly beginning at future. I was thinking that we might have to choose a faster, albeit more costly way. The Esamites are known, famous, or I should say infamous would be more accurate, for their ability to take care of things fast and without much detection. I'm sure in a city such as Rome there would be several Esamites we can go to and offer favors in the name of our country for them to take care of this politician.
I do not believe that will be wise. We can kill him easily enough ourselves if such is the thing that you desire to do.
Of course, we can also do that ourselves. I was just thinking that by putting any of you in this dangerous task, it might, well, the result of failing might not be so good. And therefore choosing as SMI to do this for us would be a better, in case he fails, it wouldn't be as much impactful as we ourselves failing directly at trying to kill the politician.
Giving out boons for the murder of a mortal like this seems wasteful to me.
I'm back. Sorry, what? Wait, what did I just come in on?
We are discussing about the favor and how are we going to deal with the politician we need to take care of.
Marcus Livius Drusus.
Yes, we need to take care of him. So far we've been talking about either trying to make him not a tribune of the plebs / assassinating him through an Essamite / killing him ourselves.
Now,
And there's another thing that we need to consider. The tensions are running really high, and I'm betting that there is a lot of stakes and there's a lot of dynamics connected to it, and that our kind is not just sitting idly for it to happen. And there's a lot of dependencies and a lot of wagers and a lot of influences tied to it.
Yes,
So
that's true.
it would be probably best to not involve ourselves into any sort of groundbreaking alterations to the status quo, and therefore I think our best chance would be to rather steal the thing from the proprietor and put fakes in its place to protect your reputation, Lucius, rather than try any kind of maneuver that would entail either dissaddling the man or straight out murdering the man.
Killing is such a waste anyway.
I disagree. I mean, if there weren't so many potential issues that could arise from it, I wouldn't mind killing him myself.
Listen, if you do not have the means to be stealthy, sneaky, or supernaturally hidden while killing this highly important politician, then I do not suggest that you try to kill him yourself. We do not want attention. It's in these circumstances, just like Nicodemus said, everything is very on edge, and things might stumble on us without we ourselves bracing for it properly, and we do not want that at this certain time frame, at this certain social situation. So we need to make sure that in either case this thing is done, fast, and covered. I personally think that we gave a promise and we need to keep it. Certainly owing a favor to an Assamite will be a fast solution if their reputation is indeed to be trusted, and in the world of Kindred, reputation is not built easily. So there must be some kind of honesty to it. But we can also try to steal it. I will not stop you or try to hinder you if you do decide to steal it.
Well, my point is that if we really try to influence, impact, or remove Drusus out of the equation one way or another, we are effectively putting our hand to the encroaching civil war, the social strife, and whatever. And worse yet, there are probably kindred from the court that are tied to it altogether. We're basically stepping on their toes and perhaps asking for trouble if we try to just remove the man from the equation.
Perhaps we should consult with the prince then, see if this is obvious.
The prince does not need to. Prince is the standing requires. Does not need to know about our affairs. I'm sure he has much more things to do, much grand things to take care of. If we want to do this, we need to make a decision between ourselves and maybe extend it to our very close circles. But let's not make it bigger than that.
I feel like Nicodemus's solution is the simplest and cleanest. Just.
We want to steal it then.
Steal and put fakes in its place. Because the problem is that you've already shown your face and you've offered your credence, your credibility to the man. So we need to appease that, and any kind of overt theft will immediately put attention to you.
I guess if we can make another meeting before this, I could possibly erase that memory from him before you actually try to steal it. I might try to erase the memory from him, and
was he the only one who saw it, who witnessed it?
He saw Nicodemus as well, but he was obfuscated.
I was his demented cousin.
Yes. If we can meet with him before you try to forge documents and then first try to steal it and then replace it with forged documents. Before you do that, if I can get like another meeting with him, both of us together, and then I can use Dominate to erase the memory from him.
By the way, I do not recall. He has not shown us the documents in question, right?
No, he did not. He did not show us documents. We do not know where they are. It's probably, it might be in his house. It might be in some other place. I mean, he talked very highly about those documents. We might not even try to find it.
I mean, if I were to hide somewhere nearby. I could perhaps help in that regard. I do have methods to
Well,
try and track them down.
if we have
as
a rough
residents.
actually, if we have a rough idea where the documents are meant to be, then we have an easy way to get someone to pinpoint the location without risking putting too much risk of drawing attention, and just looks to the one person in the group who can literally turn into a shadow.
Perhaps we can combine our efforts and use shadow and eyes, so to speak.
Your eyes, while they are useful, it's much more physical than whatever the Albina does with her shadows. Maybe Albina herself can do this alone. It might be better than sending both her and your spies in the house.
Perhaps I could focus on keeping an eye on our resident.
That might happen. Just be careful. Try to not show your face. Remember, we should remember the first tradition. Never breach the masquerade. So we have to be very careful with what we are doing. And he also is an highly important politician. So that means he probably has kindreds looking out for him as well. It's not just the tribune of the plebeians who is important in this equation we are dealing with.
I don't think it's up to the point that he literally has obfuscated guards.
I do not think he has
Guarding
obfuscated guards. I'm just more thinking that there might be kindreds who are interested in what's happening to him or what he is doing. So while they are observing him in some, or anyways, while they're observing him in any ways, we might get caught. And then that might be another problem. That's what I'm trying to say. Not necessarily there are obfuscated soldiers in his house. So either way, it seems like we will, if we fail either case, we will get in trouble because both of these politicians are important. One of them is tribune and the other one was, I don't know, I can't really recall, but I think he was very important, powerful member of the family, head of the family or something. So both of them are important, both of them can lead to problems happening if we fail. So failing is bad in either case. It's just a matter of which kind of failure we want to risk. Is it a failure of assassinating the tribune or failure of stealing and replacing it with the forgery documents? I just think like if we offer like a major boon as a coterie to an Assamite, it will be much quicker. He can probably use his powers to just get in, assassinate and get out. I mean, the last time when it happened to us, we were there because we knew that someone was going to try to assassinate him.
I do feel that ultimately, in the long run, that risks more backfiring on us.
Would be trading a minor boon to the prince of a city far away to a major boon to an Assamite that's nearby us.
Furthermore, I have to ask, dishes. Well, you still wear a mortal identity, right? Do you hold any sort of allegiance to Rome as a state?
I honestly don't know. We never talked about that with Chris. I don't know. I mean, I have allies, so I guess.
No, okay. That's the question you have to answer yourself. But here's my query: would assassinating a statesman, an important statesman, would not be an assault against Rome itself? It kinda is. And we do
Yeah.
it at the behest of some Greek kindred. Huh. That sounds funny from a Greek kindred myself, but we're basically playing into a ploy of some
Well, I
very
mean,
low
we
generation
are
kindred from Greece.
listen, if we get into details like that, we are talking about assassinating a tribune who is going to create a civil war in Italy. And with that civil war, all of these people not from Rome will want to become a member, a citizen. And as a kindred from Rome, why would I want them becoming citizens of Rome? So if we get into these talks, essentially, this personal beliefs and ideologies, there are many answers, angles.
And you know that from whom? The one guy that's actually a political rival. He could told you that he shits in the woods, and you would believe him.
I mean, there are more than just that guy saying stuff. I could have always heard rumors and other stuff as well. My character is, well, I am quite deep in the mortal politics, so I do hear stuff. I don't have only one source when it comes to what
You guys have been
some
debating for
politicians.
half an hour. I suggest you hold a vote or something to decide on a course of action.
I think there's too many problems. Going to an SMI, yes, would be quicker, and yeah, the cost would be higher, and yeah, it might be in the long term create problems, but on the short term we have a lot of problems that might arise. So
I vote for theft.
Yeah, same. Vote for
Yeah.
theft.
I vote for theft. I
Theft
vote
and
to
replace with a
steal,
replica.
craft replica, plant the replica.
okay, let's do that.
Step one though, find out where the original is, and then figure out how we can best get in there undetected. The best time to do such a thing, and
Yeah, I
get
mean,
in,
we
switch,
can.
get out.
We probably
being
won't be
detected.
able to do this this session, but yeah, we can send Albina as a shadow to locate the documents, and then she can come back, and then we can maybe try to make the forgeries of the documents, and then replace those, and then get out. That's pretty much the basic plan. It's just
By the yeah.
it's just that there might be some problems that we are not considering happen, but that's always happens. So.
By the way, the suggestion that we meet with the guy again and either you wipe his memories or we tell him that it's a no deal isn't exactly bad.
I mean,
I mean,
well, Chris, I have a question. Just a quick question. When this guy who told my name, Decius, he knew me. Did he knew me as a mortal, or did he knew me as the person who gave a big speech defying the traditions of Rome? Like, how did he know me?
I don't
Did he
know.
know me
How do you
because-
think he knew you?
I do think he knew me because he recalled me because of the speech I gave. So I don't think it's not necessarily that he might know that I'm a powerful or supposedly powerful person because I gave the large party. But I'm not sure if he knows me personally, like my standing in the human politics, etc. So I don't.
You don't have a
that.
standing in human
Distinct.
politics.
I don't have. Well, true. I don't have it. I have some allies or contacts, so it's
Yes,
not.
you
Really
have
a danger.
contacts and you have allies. You are
Yeah.
not in the mortal senate. You are not a human politician.
Yeah. I'm not like a non-patrician either, right?
You are not a human politician.
Okay. So yeah, so yeah, I guess we can go to him and say that we are not going to do it or something like that. If you want to, we can do that. I think he won't take it well if you say that. Okay, we don't want to do this because he might then. By the way, are you speaking Nicodemus? Because I can't hear you.
Look, the part of the issue is our presence and our manifestation in his house. If it were to for me only, I'd only steal the thing from him. But the whole forgery part and the whole let's placate with this person is to protect your interests and your identity. Also, there's a side fact that if a influential politician discovers that his Greek items were stolen, he might think of, "Hey, those rotten Greeks have double-crossed me. Let's put the Athens to a torch or something."
Yeah, that might be the result, or some other result. Sure, let's try to do the forgery, because once we steal it, he will already know that it is stolen. So at least trying to do the forgery will not be, too bad. It's just going to be an extra thing. If it works, it's nice. If it doesn't work, well, you would know that it was stolen either case. So what is he going to do, right?
He
So
might think that he had the forgery all along. He might
yeah,
think he might
that might be
think
the
that
case. Who knows? And he is an old person. There's many factors, whatever. So yeah, let's go with that then. Let's try to get our eyes on the documents, locate it, make a forgery, replace it, and then steal the real documents. I will also say, if there is no more discussion about this, I will also ask Albina to follow me for a second and go to some private place. Or you know what? We don't need to go to a private place. I will say this while we are together, all of us. Albina, your sire is the Scourge, right?
Is correct? Yeah.
He does take care of the problems in the kindred world.
Yes.
Listen, I'm planning to become what you would call a certain degree of patron for a group of kindreds, and it is within the interest of all of us, even your sire, for me to do this. Because once I become the patron of some, how to say it, kindreds in need of help, I will save them, and it will save your sire from trouble, well, extra trouble she needs to take care of. And I will be patron of a group of kindreds so that I can use them in the benefit of the coterie. What I'm trying to say is that I would like you to arrange a meeting between me and your sire so that we can talk this with her.
You want me to speak in your behalf?
No, not speak on her behalf. I want you to take me to your sire.
Taking you to her, then I am show you. Then I am acting in your behalf.
You just like can you arrange a meeting between me and her?
Can you offer me for?
Hmm?
What can you offer me?
What am I offering? I am offering my loyalty that I already did, my alliance to this country. I am offering that I do not backstep you even if I know that when you sleep, what kind of weaknesses you have, what kind of allies you have. This is what I am offering. I'm offering that when you need help, I will help you. When I see that you have a problem, I fix it. When I see that your house is made of wood, I make it stone. That's what I'm offering. My alliance, my loyalty.
Offering things that you have already given.
Offer. I will give you once I have my money back, because I helped you by spending my money. I helped this coterie, not the coterie, sorry, I helped this cult by making the party. And I'm bringing 30 people here. And I use my money for that, so I cannot use my money now. Because of that, I need to wait. And once I get my money back, I will help you rebuild your havens. So yes, I cannot offer the Haven upgrade right now because I helped you with the cult.
Again, we are offering things that you already promised. What you are asking of me is something new. You need to offer something new.
Is this how this works in this country? Is this the way it works? That you call yourselves a country, but you do not help each other if there is no favor in question?
What you're asking of me is potentially damaging to my relation to my sire. I need something that makes it worth it.
Oh, you do not need to. Okay, you do not seem to understand. What I am offering here will not cause problem for your sire. Instead, I am taking weight from her shoulders.
And if you make a mistake,
I'm listening the work she has to put with her scourge job.
no, you are taking the responsibility from her, and if she does accept it, your fuck ups are going to be her fuck ups.
Once I take the responsibility of of those kindreds, it's my responsibility, not hers anymore. Even if my fuck up happens, even if I fuck up after taking the responsibility, it will be my fuck up, not hers anymore. I will take the responsibility of those kindreds on myself.
That's not how it would work.
Yes, it is how it works.
I do not believe so.
Well, maybe I should give a lesson about politics then.
I'm not going to present you to her and act in your behalf to her without having something that is.
I'm not asking you to do it in my behalf. I'm just asking you to arrange a meeting between your sire and me. You're not going to take any sides or say this use is a trustable person. I'm just pleasantly asking for you to arrange a meeting. That's all.
By arranging a meeting, I am already presenting you as someone that I believe to be worthy of meeting her, of speaking to her about such matter.
Listen. Look. I am trying to do something here on behalf of all of us, and I'm going to take the responsibility only on myself. It will not affect you. However, it will still help you because I will use this in behalf of this country. I am trying to help you here, all of you, myself as well. I'm trying to grow our influence, our power in Rome. And the simple thing I am asking you to do, for me to do this, a bit easier, is for you to just arrange a meeting between your sire and me. I do not ask you to talk in behalf of me, positively or negatively. And I'm going to take this weight off from your sire's shoulders because she acted in a way the prince did not approve, and she got punished as a scourge.
Give me a major boon, and I will present you to her.
Your blind greed I will not accept. I will find another way to help. And also, don't worry, I'm not as greedy as you. So even if we made this talk, I'm going to rebuild your house. After all, you're too poor to do it yourself and powerless.
Saying that to a Sombra, does that require a frenzy check?
No, I don't think so.
Jesus.
Also,
Silver.
get some lessons about politics. You do not seem to be able to understand some intricacies.
She has a big smile on her face. She knows that she has all the power in this side of the conversation, so she's she's having the time of her life.
So, one last thing. We were talking about the things we need to do to protect this cult. Increase the defenses. So, what do you have to offer?
Is he asking this to the everyone gathered, or is he asking this to someone specific?
Everyone. I'm making the like what kind of backgrounds we have to help the cult become more defensive.
I was planning to look into the abyss to see if I can can glean some information on this other code, on this code of the Great Mother.
I still have a small amount of resources. I have my loyal ghouls. I have a few contacts, not many perhaps, but a few scattered here and there. Um, beyond, sorry. Beyond that, Beyond that, I believe the biggest advantages I can provide us remain from my own unique skills. I can consult the stars for for if we want more proactively to try and get information that could help our efforts. I, I, I could with more aid getting blood, I could theoretically work to first off build a much larger stockpile of blood brew that would allow us to sustain far more ghouls between us all, which of course would generally give us more to work with. Furthermore, while normally it would be, how do you say, too costly to be worth the effort, I can, with a bit of support in a bit of support in gaining blood, ensure that all of our, at least, at the very least, all our personal chambers are carefully warded against outside intrusion.
Okay. What about you, Labiana?
Labiana will face the others, kind of periodically looking from one to the other. That usual expressionlessness, despite what she's about to say, which is ultimately, I'll admit, I don't have terribly much to offer in that respect. I have some allies that could potentially be called upon if needed. Usually my strengths lie in the manipulation of the dark energies of death. Whether or not that can be used in any sense in our defensive capabilities remains to be seen.
Well, the kindred who met with us was somewhat looking similar to you. She might be a Cappadocian, so your powers might be useful after all, because, well, if she uses her powers on us, I'm sure you will be able to pay back in return with your own. And you will also know what she might be doing to us, so that's some extra information. What about you, Nicodemus?
Here's an interesting thing to consider. If the overlord, the high priestess of the cult was the mortal one, and the kindred was not, what kind of deal is between them? Is the kindred subservient to the mortal, or it just so happened, or is the kindred using the mortal?
Well, the other night we assumed that she was simply the boss and the kindred was working for him. But that's an assumption. We do not know the answer. We need to probe, ask questions, and gather more information to answer such a question. It can
There
be
is a-
many possibilities.
No, the mortal is not the boss. The boss is the goddess, the great mother of this.
Oh, I haven't said boss, I said high priestess.
Oh.
Is that the position that I understand the mortal took?
Hmm.
The highest of priestesses?
We need. I could not speak to the goddess. She has not feel some fit to speak back to me at her statue,
Understandable.
which is perhaps I believe that we need to submit to her to be able to hear her words.
Listen, if you want to submit so wholeheartedly, you can submit. Now, I will use my allies. I will pull some strings. I will use my contacts to get some extra muscle. I can probably arrange an arrangement between the local gangs through my contacts, and with a proper offer to those gangs, they would be willing to protect our haven, group haven, physically. I can pull my influence to essentially provide a certain security to the building itself, an insurance, if you would like to call it. And I can also contact with my allies to make sure that we have some people supporting us when we need it, when we need more extra influence, money, or other kind of source. I can also talk with my mentor, and I can talk with some venture circles in exchange of owing them few favors. They would also help us, but we can do that when it is most needed, if it even becomes necessary. The information you might provide is useful, but we need more concrete stuff. Information itself is good, but for it to be effective, we need actual actions being taken.
I'm curious, would it be possible to try and dominate or convert one of their followers to get an inside job going on?
That will probably be very risky. They had the eyes of true fanaticism in them.
Yes, they are fanatics, even,
Oh,
brainwashed and all that. I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm let them be fanatic, but some conditionings are impossible for mortals to
I mean, the thing
overcome.
is that the thing with the dominate is that you can only do action. So yes, we can condition them. We can say something like, okay, when you have the chance and you wouldn't not be seen, steal the whatever item. We can condition him like that, but we won't be able to condition him to tell us the information when we need it, because you do not get information through dominate. You only get actions. So dominate is not really the kind of power we can use in our case.
Well, you could
What
command
about blood bond?
If the blood bond is obsession, so if you do blood bond, then the change in behavior will be seen. Because, I mean, normally, even if you're not role-playing it, blood bond is like borderline obsession, addiction. And yeah, they would notice that. If you want to get someone in their cult as a spy kind of, we need to do it like subtly and in a long term. We actually need to like groom it, and it's going to take time. We cannot do that quickly. It will take effort. It will take actual non-supernatural roles like proper manipulation, charisma, etc. So yeah, it's going to be hard. It's not worth it. I do not think it's worth it.
Here's a rather simple thought that occurred to mind. We have so far have the devotion of our followers, but obviously the support they can give us is limited by what they have available to them. But in a sense, many of them will face issues that, if we put our minds to it, we could probably solve fairly easily. If we help to advance the situation of our cult followers, then hopefully the rewards can flow up to us.
Can you be more specific?
Let's say that. Let's say that we can find a way to get them in a position where they are gaining more of a disposable income. Say, that means more donations flowing towards us, or say we help them smooth out some things, get contact somewhere. In a sense, we basically, we act as patrons to our followers, I suppose.
Well, you already took a large responsibility by being the essentially priestess of these cult members. I do not think that's necessary. If you really want to patron of something, I suggest that you do it for a group of young neonates. All of us needs followers, despite some of us might be too blind to not see that.
But here's the thing. We've occasionally run into walls of clashing against other kindred, yes? Well, if we focus on the struggles of our followers, chances are we're not going to be dealing with other kindred. We're going to be dealing with other foolish mortals. That means, while perhaps the rewards won't be as significant, the costs will also be much lesser.
I think you're underestimating their greed. Even if we focus on our own followers, they will still want us. They will see this piece and they will want it. They always do. This is the second time some cult came to you in expectancy to absorb you. First time you were much smaller. This time you are now bigger. And there will definitely be third and fourth and fifth time when other cults want the same thing.
But
this is a matter of
So then-
competition and they just want to absorb as much as possible.
no, I'm saying that. Oh no, I'm saying that we make our cult stronger by quite simply making the component pieces stronger.
Oh, I think, I mean, aren't we doing that already?
You're focusing on. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, essentially, I agree with Hatshepsut. Why not focus on further strengthening our greatest asset that we have before us? They want to absorb us. So far, both have failed to do so. And why? Because we have already strengthened our cult to a sufficient degree thus far. And as you said before, there are others who are going to continue to try. Perhaps some will be stronger than others. So, why not focus on strengthening ourselves further? Our cult, our asset.
That sounds smart. We can do that. I don't think we need all of us to do that. I think three of you is more than sufficient to strengthen the cult, and the rest of us can try to strengthen the cult in other ways. We still we cannot just trust on our cults becoming more committed and more fanatical. We need other ways to protect ourselves as well. If you focus at only one aspect, then the other aspects will stay behind, and they will be, well, weak parts. I mean, this is like a, the saying, the weakest of the group determines how strong the group is, or something like that. It's pretty much it. This is pretty much it. So yeah, you three of you can focus on the cult members, make them more fanatical, more stronger, essentially. In the meantime, I can use my backgrounds and other stuff to get us, bodyguards or guards or whatever, and get us some politicians that will be interested in the well-being of our cult. I can use my contacts to essentially do other stuff. Yeah, so we can spread around and try to invest in several aspects of our cult. We don't need to focus on one part.
Exactly. Focus on what our strengths are.
I will take some time to even more intimately interact with our followers, see what precisely ails the followers we currently already have, what difficulties they may face, and how we could potentially help them to pass the test, as it were. Not necessarily do it for them, but give them the strength to see it through.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, I will. I think I should essentially establish an agreement between our cult and a gang, essentially a local gang, so that they protect our building. We need that now. We became large enough that might be possible that someone tries to attack us directly or indirectly. So we will need some manpower actually guarding this place. I will establish that.
We could even consider golding them, which would make them even stronger.
Well, true. Also, you will need to use the cult's fund to do this. Just keep that in mind.
Of course.
They will want payments. I will do that right now. I think it's early in the night, so I have some time to establish contact with my contacts and make the deal. Maybe the night after that or something. I will also go and meet with my allies. So yeah, I will. So this just will, if no one has anything else to say, this just will leave the group Haven and meet his contacts essentially.
Okay, let's do the theft first tonight. How do you guys want to approach getting into his compound, finding the documents that you need to steal, and getting them out?
Well,
So the only thing
correctly,
that
I
we,
think. Oh, go ahead.
the only thing we need is a set of plays, right? Do we know how many of them and how were they recorded?
The stuff you asked to get are a set of plays. These are actually kind of famous because he won several competitions with them. And a set of speeches. These are going to be several cylinders and a number of papers combined. We're talking about 10 plays and maybe 30 or 40 speeches.
And
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Well, the thing is that Albina in shadow form cannot really take those items with her. So we actually need like Nicodemus in that house, obfuscated and steal it. But
Well,
Albina can use her shadow abilities to exactly learn where these documents are held.
Well, that's what I was saying before. Ultimately, I think step one was purely just to identify or see if we can find exactly where they are, get the layout of the place, where there may be people stationed, where his sleeping room is, whether or not they're nearby,
Yeah.
when he might sleep, that kind of thing, when he wakes up.
Pretty much.
So we maybe know the best time to strike.
Yeah.
to speak.
I mean, we don't have really much choice. We have to do this at night, so it kind of lessens the time frame we need to check. But I think late. I mean, we know. Well, we visit the guy, and he was awake very early in the morning. So we know that he does not sleep a lot. That means that most of the time he will be awake. So we probably should send Albina in shadow form when it is like 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m. ish, because it's probably the time he takes a short nap. So that might be the best.
Sorry, wasn't it said that he woke up explicitly early just to meet with us?
Yes, that's what was said.
That was okay. He didn't. He made a comment about, oh, I cannot sleep as long as anymore or whatever, and
He's
I
an old
thought he
man.
made-
His sleep habits are changing.
yeah.
I think the deal is that he is an early bird, but our visit made him rise
Earlier than
a
normal.
bit earlier than normal still.
Okay. So yeah, then okay. So we say 2 a.m. ish. Then we can sneak in, or Albina can sneak in shadow form, because it's probably when he would be sleeping or not paying too much attention on if people are sneaking in or whatever.
I think it should be a combined effort. Just
Okay.
sending in one person is a broken idea. So if it is us who are dealing with it, it should be uh, myself and Albina, and we should have some sort of distractions available at the ready, like a gang able to rouse enough ruckus outside to lure the attention of the guards if it is required.
We can use the animalism for that, and does Labiana have some rituals that can help?
Well, the only one I've sort of considered is in determining initially whether there's anyone awake or not. She could potentially use her hand of glory.
Oh yeah, you can actually put people in sleep, right?
No. It only determines whether or not there is anyone still awake. And
No, it can put people to sleep.
Can it?
Yeah.
I think that ritual
But
puts like a bunch of people in sleep, like depending on the radius.
hang on. No. Hang on. Let me look it up. Hang on.
Yeah, you should check that, because it's a very good ritual.
Because ultimately, what happens is, for anyone that's asleep, fingers on the hand will curl. For anyone still awake, the finger will stay erect.
What's the name of the ritual?
Hand of glory.
When the hand is lit within 50 paces of a home, all mortal residents therein will fall into a deep sleep or stay asleep and unable to be roused.
Okay, that's great. We should definitely use that. We should definitely use that ritual to put these people
Or
at
stay
sleep.
asleep.
Yeah, we should use that ritual to put them at sleep. Hatshepsut can use his animalism further if it's necessary to cause some kind of, attention like gathering. He can use his animalism to cause a distraction. And Nicodemus and Albina can use their sneaky powers to sneak in and locate the documents. And hopefully, if
Would-
the ritual works, most of these people will be asleep as well.
Wouldn't that be a rousing suspicion that everyone at the same moment fell asleep?
I mean, it depends on how many people are outside. Because first of all, people outside is those that will gather attention because people will see them on the ground sleeping. So that will be a problem. But those inside the villa, I don't think it's going to be a lot of problem if if they fall asleep.
Won't it only affect people inside the villa?
They're within 50 paces of any home.
All mortal residents inside the home will fall into a deep sleep.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
there,
it's
yeah.
the caster has to be. It can be within 50 paces of it.
It says when the hand is lit within 50 paces.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially you need to lit the hand in 50
Within
paces.
50 paces.
Well, here's the thing. Do you need to lit it yourself? Can you prepare everything?
She has to
and
do
then
it.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't like prepare everything, then give it to Nicodemus,
No,
and then
she has.
lit
She has to do it.
No, the necromancer has to do it.
Do you have
It is
obfuscate?
a necromantic ritual.
Do you have obfuscate?
I'm sure she could find somewhere to hide.
I mean,
His villa's on the Palatine Hill. It's not going to be hard.
okay, yeah, I think if you can try to sneak in, I mean, listen, you can boost your dexterity. Just boost your dexterity, sneak in. Hopefully, if it's successful, then you cast the ritual, put them in sleep. People
Well,
inside.
That's the beauty, though. She doesn't have to actually get in, so long as she's not more than 50 paces away from the building.
Exactly. So I can
Okay.
hide nearby.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good as well. So you do that. You put people in sleep, right? And then Albin and Nicodemus sneak in, and me and Head Shipsuit can stay ready to cause destruction.
Just to make sure, we are doing the whole forgery thing, right? We should.
If it's possible, we should try to do that. Also, I actually think Decius should not be here because his face is more, recognizable, and he already knows my name. So if someone sees me near that place, it might be trouble for us.
Yes, that's fair. I'm just saying that we should preemptively figure out if we have enough manpower and connections to actually make the forgery. So, like, initially gauge who can make the forgeries within ample time and be ready to plant the forged copies back into place. And it's considering that it's like, what was it, like 40 scrolls? That was a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of
A lot of
documents.
scrolls.
I mean, listen, I can probably try to use my contacts to find a really good forgery guy or something. It might come up. You can search for it. I got a bunch of contacts, so I should find something.
Contacts aren't going to help you find a forger.
Okay.
You need influence. You're going to use influence on this.
I got influence. I can use that as well. Okay, so I use my influence to find the forgery guy, and we try to do the forgery of these documents, and then we try to replace it.
So
the way
while you're out shaking the bushes and trying to find a forger, you're going to roll me wits plus influence.
Okay.
Everybody else is doing the raid, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Can I spend
Honestly,
willpower?
Labian is helping with this setup.
Decius, yes you can, but you'll be down to willpower next session.
Okay. Let's not do it then. Some important stuff might happen next session.
All right. You guys are in the crowded area of the streets up here at the Palatine Hill. Okay? It's jam-packed with buildings. You are just up the street from the Forum Palatinate, or the Forum Roma, Forum Roma Fora, all the government buildings. Okay.
Slagging.
It is not a problem to get where he lives. He's rather famous.
It's not a botch.
You can re-roll at difficulty 8.
Okay.
You make your way through the city streets. You can see his villa. You see where it's at. You can put eyes on it. Being the Senatus Princeps Senatus, he is entitled to extra lictors. He is quite rich. He has many of his own guardsmen. You see that his villa is set a little bit apart, and there are guardsmen standing on the roof, and you have heard before the barking of guard dogs.
Ah,
However, this ritual does work on animals.
Okay, that's cool. Alright. Well, obviously, first thing Labian's going to do is find the most appropriate, inconspicuous hiding spot.
oh, I have to ask.
Eyes.
Are we not first learning where the object of our desire is?
What?
Well, I mean,
I thought the initial plan was to find out where he's keeping the stuff.
Send Olgana in alone first, then she
First.
comes out, tells us what's up. Then Nicodemus goes in.
Exactly.
Albina finds herself a place that is close to the walls and is a bit out of sight from mortals.
Well, looks like we're just stealing them at this point.
And she finds she goes into the shadow form.
okay. You spend the blood. You go into shadow
Yes.
form.
She flows over the walls, trying to keep herself to the natural shadow around, and she tries to head into the building, trying to avoid the animals.
All right. Well, animals are going to get a roll to sense you at difficulty 8, and they need 3 successes. And they did not make 3 successes. No specialties.
Phew.
You slip past, apparently unnoticed. No dogs come barking, no major shouts, no screams, no nothing. You flow into the villa. His domus is quite well appointed, with many rich decorations. It is built in the same vein as almost every villa in the Rome, so you have a pretty good idea of the layout already.
Would you know of a place that would be a library? Would the realize have a place like a library or a place like a treasury room?
There is typically a study, and there is almost always in houses like this a treasury of some kind.
The way how he spoke about how valuable it is, I would assume that it is in the treasury first.
That'd be a good bet.
That would be should be heading to the place that she assumes would be the treasury, the place that would normally be the treasury.
All right,
Trying to
you would
follow.
flow down some steps into the basement. These steps would lead to the furnace room. The furnaces are essentially empty chambers where they light fires to provide heat during the winter. And the treasury is down there. It's behind a securely barricaded door. There is a guardsman standing watch there. He has very little chance of noticing you, as he is just a dude. He needs 4 successes to defeat. Wow, I'm glad I said 4 and not 3. Yeah, he's not an animal. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get the extra bonus sensory perception. He's just a dude. But he's quite alert and aware. But you flow around him, over him. You avoid touching him. You creep over his head, and as you creep over him, you're like, "Man, I could kill this guy so easy." Oh, but you don't. And you find the most microscopic of cracks and slip through into the treasury. The treasury room itself is completely dark, but if it's just not a problem for you, you just switch over to dark sight. And you see a number of crates and clay amphorae in bags, and bags in the room.
Would she be able to try to flow into the crates and the bags without having to open them?
They are actually decently airtight. The bags themselves you could probably get into. The crates are actually sealed up really well with wax and several layers of wood layered together to be for strength.
I see. Would she be able to take human shape?
Absolutely. Yep.
With shadow armor to summon a blade and try to cut the wax silently?
There's no shadows here. It's just dark. That being said, you do have a belt knife which transforms with you. So, and that is more than sufficient for what you need.
She's going to cut up the wax, try to see if she can do so silently.
Okay. You start peeling away some of the crates. There's about 16 containers in here to get through. Roll me a dex and stealth roll to silently open these crates. This is a straight up contested roll for him to notice, like, what the hell is that sound coming from in there?
Would they be able to use Nocturne inside the room to muffle the sound?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to give you 2 automatic successes.
Okay.
So he's got to get at least 2 more successes than you do, which he literally can't.
No, that is to summon the Nocturne, not the dex and...
Nocturne? Or that's your... Alright, so you need to get... You need to fail your dex stealth roll. Okay, you... With the Nocturne, you are undisturbed. You work your way around a couple of these crates. You start popping them open, and the first couple you pop open are full of money. Gold and silver. How much time are you going to spend in here opening crates and bags?
They came here at around 2 a.m. It gets light at around 6 a.m., I believe.
Around,
right?
Yeah, around 6.
So yeah, she's going to stay there up to 2 hours.
Okay. You spend approximately 45 minutes to an hour inside. And you open almost every container, and you do eventually find these documents. You open, there's about 4 of the crates have rolled up speeches in them, packed carefully in hay and straw. And a couple of the clay containers have stuff in them as well. Now, these might all be the stuff you need. There might be more than what you need. It might not be everything. You don't know. You're going to have to pull them out and a little bit at a time. There's too much for you to just, like, grab all of it and transform. That's too big.
Yeah. Saying that, she's going to head back to the group. She's going to go back into shadow form and flow back into the way to the group.
All right, I'll give the animals one more chance to detect you. Once again, diff 8, they need 3 successes. Ooh. As you are flowing out, somebody with the guard dog just happens to be walking near you, and they start barking and snarling, and they are like lunging at this patch of shadow, and their handlers are like, "What the hell? Yo, dog, calm down, dog!" And what are you barking at? There better not be a fucking rat down there. And they've like jammed the torch, like trying to see what the hell the dog is going for. So I need a quick dexterity and athletics roll from you to avoid getting hit by the flames. As they're literally just waving it, like, what the hell are you looking at? Because they can't see you. You're a patch of shadow in shadow. So they're just like randomly waving it. You need, I was gonna say, you need 2 successes.
Watch.
Yep. They still can't see you. You're shadow in shadow. However, you take extra fire damage when you're inside this form, don't you?
Double.
Yeah, doubles.
It would have been 2 ag. It is unfortunately now 4.
You got fortitude.
Yep. So roll me to soak. Fortitude only. Difficulty 6.
A blood point to auto the fortitude.
You cannot do that on fire.
You must roll, and difficulty is set. It depends on the fire. So
It's 6. It's not super intense, but it was direct inside your shadow form.
Out of curiosity, if he'd actually managed to, kill her with that, would she have just, transformed back and then he just have to face a dead body suddenly, coming out of nowhere?
Considering how old Albina is, she could be
Yeah,
purified.
Albina would have instantly ashed. All right, so Albina, you take 2 ag, and I need you to roll your courage. I would have said diff 5, but I have to add 1, so it's diff 6. All right, you're good to go. You do not come out of shadow form in frenzy and attack everything around you. Or actually, you would not have come out of shadow form. You would have just summoned obtenebration to kill everything around you.
or run away.
No. This would have been Beast angry. Everything around Albina was going to die. But fortunately, she retains control. She succeeds in her escape, and you make your way back to the group to transform and give them the news. Now, when she transforms back, you notice on her exposed skin, she looks crispy.
Did the clothings get burned as well, or are they protected because they are shadows?
They're shadows.
I guess the clothings are not hurt. It's an interesting dynamic, getting burned while shadow, then you transform to physical side, and then your clothings transform with you.
Yep, so she
Welcome to the world of darkness.
portion of her face and her arm just happens to be where the damage manifested.
Problems on the way?
What happened?
A overly concerned guard. Do not worry about it. He did not say anything that could jeopardize the plan.
That's relief. Have you found the items?
I found many items. Not sure which one are the ones that we need. If I had to say, I'd suggest putting the house under sleep and then taking everything that we can.
Are we sure?
Unless you wish to start a breeding place until the daylight comes, in hopes of finding the one that we are looking for, yes.
I suppose so long as we, as you have found
If we can manage to
where the majority of the documents are, I guess.
If we can manage to get several crates out that include other things,
That might actually be beneficial, make it look less like a targeted at the place specifically.
Another good point, yes.
Well,
We have to get them back.
The items grouped up close to each other, we make it seem like they just like we just nabbed a portion of it, a clustered portion of it.
There is also plenty of coins there. It would be useful to the code to put to use.
well, we have to.
Are we not breaching masquerade with that, actually? Because to pull this sort of heist, we're pretty much depending on the supernatural that will become noticeable when they realize a big portion of their crates are missing from under their eyes.
Do you believe they fell asleep?
Although-
It could be a curse. It could have been some form of drug slip into the water supplies of the villa, or maybe into the food.
Well, ultimately, it's not really part of the mission. I don't believe the risk necessary.
Yeah, we time is of the essence. Let's just focus on getting the crates that we have the scrolls, and then if we can manage any crates with coins, then that's a nice bonus. But don't. But just get going. Set the hand.
Let's just... Yes. So Labiena will proceed
Okay.
to pull out
All right,
the
Labiena,
created hand.
need a courage roll from you. You are lighting fire. Difficulty 3.
That really shouldn't... I mean, you know, it's a ritual where she has to light the hand.
Yep, you
think
have
that's
to light the
part of the
hand.
I've had to do it
ritual.
before? Yeah, I don't think I've had to do that before with this ritual.
Yeah, you're sticking your hand near fire. You got to light it up.
Alright, so what am I rolling?
Courage, difficulty 3. About as easy as you can get.
It is a small flame, I guess. Courage, diff 3. Thankfully, she has a courage of 5.
Excellent.
Most courageous Cappadocia.
Okay? You will now roll your
Jeez.
intelligence plus occult, difficulty 5.
She is a literal corpse.
You got this, girl. You got this.
That dice pool go.
I give you my luck. Or no, sorry, I don't give you my luck. You will get cursed. I sacrifice storyteller's luck on you.
It is. Diff 5.
Nice.
Okay.
Ooh.
What was that? Was it a police car?
For me,
ambulance. I keep forgetting that translates through the mic.
All right,
Three
so
success.
Labiena, a couple of fingers. I'm looking at the book here. The ritual will tell you if anybody remains awake, and it is telling you there are a couple of people that remain awake. It is... If any residents of the house remain awake after the candle is lit, the candle curl one finger down for each unsleeping resident. 2 fingers curl down.
2 guys are not asleep.
Okay.
Apparently not.
So they either have magical protection, right? Or they are not in the raid.
You don't know
Or
why.
extreme
You have no idea
cold?
why. You just know that 2 people stayed awake.
Oh yeah, I'm just speculating.
Okay. Well, obfuscating in then.
Yeah. Also, remember your aspects.
Okay.
Yep.
Dex Athletics, get over the wall, please.
Boost your dexterity.
Yes. Boosting dexterity to a sustainable 7.
Noise. Gotta use that generation, man.
Blink.
Is Albina going back or staying behind? Be
She's
clear.
going. She's going. She's going to go along. Yeah, what the hell? Why not? Actually, no. She's too aggravated. She'll actually be with penalties to her actions, so she'll be staying behind.
Can you like reroll that with
All
higher
right.
difficulty? Is it possible?
Nicodemus, you can accept the failure, or you can reroll at diff 8. Or sorry, diff 7.
Nicodemus is of generation. Roll with +1 difficulty.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So Nicodemus vaults the wall. He stumbles a little bit on his way over, but it's not terrible, and he recovers and lands. Alban, I assume you're going shadow form again?
No, she's staying behind for this.
Are you staying behind? Is anybody going with Nicodemus?
I'm going to carry all the crates on my lonesome under obfuscate, which, by the way, obfuscating through this all.
Hatchet staying, going.
I don't have any dots in stealth.
Are you keeping eye on animals?
Okay.
Yeah, like basically, I'm the emergency button of if someone wakes up and a noise comes out, I'll throw out. I guess not, the pocket owls or whatever.
So Nicodemus, you vault over, and the first thing you see is a guy on the roof, and he is yawning and like stretching and just like walking and doing everything he can. And you see everybody else is just like leaned up against the wall. The dogs are laid down, everyone, and they're just like just in a sleeping.
Is so the guy yawning is not sleeping.
He's on the roof.
So he counts towards that candle business, right?
He's on the roof of the
Like-
villa. He can't see you because you're obfuscated. He is at least one of the 2 people. At least one person you've already accounted for right there on the roof.
Okay, let's take this. Oh shit! He will notice the other ones.
You can. I mean, you don't need to kill him. You can knock him out if you throw it hard enough.
If I can get to him, is it possible to get to him with reasonable time?
Yeah, you can climb the house.
Yeah.
You also
You've done it.
obfuscated,
You've done it before.
so-
Can you throw like a dagger or something?
How far am I from Albina to let her know?
If you are right at the wall itself, you can try to speak like through the gate. If she's standing outside the gate, you can whisper and not break obfuscate.
Let's try it then. Maybe someone will respond. Albina, anyone?
She leans on the wall next to the gate.
There's
Yes.
there's one up the tower yawning. Can you disable him? He's not entirely asleep.
Do you want me to kill him?
Put him out of consciousness.
For Albina, that means killing him.
I'm asking politely.
Go Terminator Albina.
If you get out of it, you will notice all the sleeping people.
She's going to. She's going to summon Ahriman behind the guy if she can.
Just a small fact.
Okay, yeah, you can see him. Actually, you need to climb the wall so you can see him. But if somebody helps you, gives you a boost, he'll see like your head popping over the wall. And well, he might not.
She's going to go into shadow form and flow into
Okay,
over the
well,
wall.
he ain't gonna see that then. You just envelop him when you get up there.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just a small fact.
He fights. He tries to get out of the shadow, and he tries to like step away, and roll me higher. Tell me high or low.
Hi. Hi.
Okay, he does not fall off the roof when in his struggle. He goes down to one knee, falls down, and eventually suffocates to death.
Hey, I was going to say something about it actually. I think if you suffocate like 1 or 2 minutes, you still not die. But if it's more than that, you actually die. If I remember correct.
We're not getting that scientific.
Okay. Okay.
She ain't a doctor. She's a living piece of shadow right now.
Okay. Okay.
And while there might theoretically be overlap, there isn't in this case.
I was just saying this for the sake of Nicodemus. That's it.
Well, Nicodemus, Albina's
As it
like, I'll
happens-
take care of it, and then you head inside. You find
Yeah,
an
they're
unlocked
very-
door, which is plentiful, and you get inside.
Yeah, Nicodemus keeps his wits about him. He still has in mind that there's at least one person not put to sleep, and there's probably some tingling sense of guilt about that he really doesn't know whether Albina killed the person or put him unconscious. But it's no time to wail about his problems. He proceeds forth to find the crates.
Okay. You head down the steps, right where Albina told you they'd be. The house itself is dark, quiet. You don't see any servants or anybody. You head down the steps, and as you turn the corner, going to where the furnace is and the stacks of wood and everything, you see the other guy that's awake. It's the guard at the treasury, and he is doing some squats in place. He's like going up and down squats, stretching. He's got a lamp with him that's casting light, and he's just like doing everything he can to fight sleep. But he is still awake and aware.
Nicodemus creeps behind him, or tries to, taking caution over speed, and he intends to knock him out, perhaps through the act of feeding, if it's the simplest, and well, to just knock him out.
Okay.
Without killing.
I'm going to give you an automatic. You grapple him automatically. You sneak up on him and grapple him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forgot to mention to use level 1 obfuscate to muffle out his shouts.
All right.
Just in case.
Okay. He's going to get a reflexive strength roll to break out of this. You sneak up on him. He cannot see you or hear you. And from behind, you reach out, whack, get him in the bear hug. He gets a reflexive contested strength roll. His strength against your strength.
Gonna buff strength for this purpose.
Okay.
Because it's not unexpected for him to put a fight reflexively.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Strength plus brawl.
Just strength. Straight up strength. Strength for strength.
Well, fuck you.
All right, you get him in the bear hug, arms around him, and you realize his arms are freaking built. This dude is stacked, and he's like, "What the hell?" And he freaking like shuffles and kind of like bounces you off the wall and gives a shrug, and you get shrugged off of him and stumble to face him. So now you're looking face to face. He's like, "What the? How the fuck did you get down here? What the hell is going on?" And he reaches behind him and he draws out a hand axe.
Gotta take care of him.
Yeah, he tries to shout, "What the hell?" and no sound comes out. He's like, "Ah, ah," and his mouth just moves, and he's like, "Oh, fuck." Yeah, he tries to shout for help. Nothing comes out.
I use this moment of confusion upon his face to attack him somewhere to his belly, which is only a feint, and the dagger goes straight to his upper chest.
Okay. So you're going to attempt a feint, which is going to be part of a multiple action, I believe. There's an actual combat maneuver for this.
There is actually.
Alrighty, melee combat maneuvers.
We can just simplify it to I just stab him while he ponders the intricacies of non-voiceness.
Bite, claw, disarm,
Here's counterattack.
great blow, kick, riposte. He's going to attempt to disarm you.
What? Okay.
Yeah, like you are fainting, he's trying to disarm.
Yep.
You. Contested actions.
So contested dex melee.
Dex melee. Okay.
Is he using hands to disarm him?
He has a hand axe.
Okay, he's using the hand axe to disarm.
He has an axe.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
Jesus. All right. You go in for the feint, and he catches the hilt of your knife, and it swirls in a circle, and your knife goes spinning off into the darkness. You have the initiative. It's your go. You're going to beat him on initiative, so you go first.
Mm, Can I draw another knife and just stab him?
Okay.
What's the problem with that?
You can take a multiple action here, or you can give me a dex melee roll at diff 6 to draw your weapon and be prepared to strike. Or sorry, let's make it diff 7. You can do a multiple action, or you can do both of them at diff, let's say diff 8, to make it fair. Full dice pull at diff 8, or take 2 actions.
Full dice pull at melee roll, right?
Yes.
Let's go with that.
Right, and he is just attempting to strike you, because he doesn't think you're fast enough to draw another weapon. Man, you really need to get a freaking melee specialty.
It's
All right,
said that
yeah,
roll-
you stab him. You stab him good and hard. Roll your damage +2. Or sorry, +1. Damage +1.
Looks like he
Which is straight strength.
Normal dagger is straight strength. Okay.
A dagger is +1 if you got a dagger.
Yeah, a knife is 0.
I assume for this mission I got the dagger.
Okay? Strength +1 +1. So strength +2.
Nice.
All right.
There we go.
He raises the axe and he goes to strike at you. And he catches you a little bit on the way down, but by the time his arm comes down, you're already inside of his swing radius. The knife jams in right at his belly button, and you sweep it up. You sweep it straight up, and then at an angle, and you disembowel him in one stroke.
Oof.
He falls to the ground, his guts spill out. He tries to cry out for his mother, but still no sound issues from the void around him. This stinking pile of guts and blood spills out over the floor, and your bloody knife in hand, leaving you to clean up.
Nicodemus probably recognizes where the strike hit even before he started spilling out his interiors onto the floor, and he immediately jumps towards the man to stop his bleeding, not to save the man because this is beyond hopeless, but to limit the mess he's going to make. Thus, limiting the amount of blood, the amount of mess that is going to be needed to be cleared up afterwards.
Yeah.
So he
So
just
you grab his clothing, and you quickly wrap it around him before too much of his guts can spill out. And so you yank it down like a makeshift tourniquet, and you just kind of tie his belly shut, even though the rest of the blood is still leaking out. So it was definitely a kill shot. You're just containing the worst of the gut viscera, so it doesn't spill out on the floor. All right, so you have invaded this man's home to steal, and you killed a man on your way. By itself, either one is not a sin at your level of humanity. Combined, however, I believe you should give me a conscious roll at difficulty 6.
That's fair. This has went beyond what expected, and this has gotten far more bloody than Nicodemus was prepared to deal with.
Okay, you can justify this theft. It's necessary. It's never easy. Sometimes stuff happens.
Nicodemus grits his teeth. This death is unfortunate, and there is no real explaining behind it. Perhaps some vague justifications about the greater needs, but these are reserved for the burning people in Hades's domain. He focuses on the task. He goes off to search for the crates and ensure the man doesn't make too much of a mess. And he goes straight to prepare the crates for transfer, as well as the man. The
Okay.
man needs to
It's
become
going to take
another-
you 4 trips to bring all of the stuff out that you need to bring out,
plus the man.
and then a
So
5th
four-
one for the man. So you sling the
Okay.
man up over your shoulders on the 5th trip, and you carry him out fireman carry style to do whatever it is you're going to do with him.
Yeah, just before leaving, Nicodemus takes another sweep at the invasion point and to sand over any remaining spills of blood that they are not noticed. So that make it seem like the guy just disappeared without a trace.
Unfortunately, you cannot clean up the huge spill of blood where you killed him, but you have removed every other trace of his body. There's no intestines there. You pick up his hand axe, you pick up your knife. So the only evidence is the huge pool of blood that you cannot clean up in front of the treasury door.
Is it because it's on cobblestones or something?
Yeah, it's like brick and cobble, and it would take you hours to remove every speck of it.
Is it possible to at least... they're going to sweep it. Shit.
It's fine. They'll just draw the conclusion that, well, obviously, one of the guards was awake and got killed, which is what happened.
No, I have no idea how to deal better with this. So let's just continue with the current plan.
Yeah, it's okay, man. It happens.
Pretty much all we can do.
Yeah.
All right. You bring the body out with you. Fifth trip. It's getting close to dawn. You got about 45 minutes to dispose of this
Yeah.
stuff and get to safety.
Did you pick the documents, by the way?
Yes, he got everything.
Yeah.
I am going to bloodbuff my strength to help now. Now that it's not going through the what do we call it? Going through all the sleeping body, all the sleeping people. Just to save us more time.
Yeah, Abna will also be helping carrying.
So just look out
Yeah.
for anyone looking at you. I don't know. Make some
Ultimately-
perception.
So I don't know if Labiana could actually sort of place
Labiana?
her hand carefully down somewhere.
Labiana, there is something you can do to help. There's something that only you can do to help get them to safety. Do you know what that
Wait a
is?
minute. Hang on. Not seal of Abba mixture?
No. Wrong necromancy path.
Zombie?
Oh wait, the other one?
Road of Bones.
Is it? Yeah.
Get a zombie.
I was just thinking. No. Wrong one. Nope. Wait.
All right, maybe it is a
Papa
seal.
bones?
I always forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, using the corpses.
Yeah. Raise the corpse to service.
Zombie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Alright. Well, I mean, I'm guessing she knew about the one on the roof
Nicodemus brings you a
and the
corpse.
one that Nicodemus.
Yes. Here.
That- Alright.
Puts it down in front of you.
This time you can do whatever you want with it.
Just raise the corpse,
Is there-
then make it walk away from this place.
Raise the corpse and say, carry this stuff for us.
Help
Yeah,
carry this
help
stuff
us.
for us.
Exactly.
Labiana's like, indeed, I will do this.
All
We
right.
can use
Give me a
all-
wits and
Yeah.
occults roll, difficulty 7, and spend a blood point. You see Labiena takes her ritual knife, opens her hand, dribbles the blood point over the corpse, chanting in a language to Dispater, the language of the dead. Rise, corpse, rise to service. Serve me.
Can you make him clean his blood?
I
Maybe
feel
that's
like
what the other guy can do.
just
I don't
focus on helping carry these. We've
Yeah.
got 45 minutes to get back home.
Yeah.
We-
Nicodemus, you especially are like, we got to get moving. We don't have time to dither around.
It was Diff 7, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, that's full on alacrity.
And I only need at least one.
All he needs one.
Because it's only the one corpse. Roll should be coming through any moment now.
Now, the corpse will follow any instruction you give it literally. Carry these, follow us with these boxes. That's all you got to say. You hand it a box, it'll carry it, and it will follow you. It raises to service. It does as you ask. It will carry as much as it can. You guys get the hell out of there. You reach, where are you? You going to the group haven, I would think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What about the forgery?
This is pretty
No time.
by now. This is pretty pointless by now because it hasn't gone cleanly unnoticed.
Alright, well, that's going to do it for tonight. Let's give everybody 2 experience points for the session.
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys. Appreciate you listening all the way to the end. That was session 86. Um, things didn't quite go according to plan, but then again, they very rarely ever do. Got introduced to a new cult. They've decided not to join it. They are making plans to withstand further incursions. Not all is well in Never Never Land. They do have some internal divisions. Hopefully that their enemies are not watching to exploit those divisions. All right, guys. Thank you again. Hope you turn in next time. Have a great evening.